Go for the beers. Go for the cheers. Go for the hit and the hits. Go for the scene. Go for the screens. Go for the gallery. Go for the win. Go to Ocean.
Post-game show with Seth Joyner.
I knew that they had a running game.
Derek Gunn.
He has put in the effort.
Devin Caney.
Had we not won the Super Bowl, what would we be saying?
And Mike Missinelli.
Well, you know who Philly is.
Post-game, now streaming on the 6ABC family of apps.
Hey, what's up, everybody? Happy Tuesday to you. We are Sports Take, JAKIB Sports YouTube Network. Barrett Brooks, Derek Gunn, Rob Ellis Gunner, welcome back. How you feeling?
Thank you. Feeling better. Yeah, still getting there. A little nagging, scratchy throat stuff, but I'm getting there. I'll be there. You know, gamer, trooper, baby. Got to do what you got to do.
Barrett's white balancing in show. It's beautiful. He went from blue man to Barrett.
It keeps on going back, man. I don't understand what's going on.
So for white balance in the business, in TV for a long time, we used to, whenever we'd be out on a live shot or something like that, and it be particularly sunny or you just turn the camera on, what you would do, I'll get my notepad out. You would go like this. You'd hold it up to the camera, and that would balance the color in the camera, and everything would kind of come back into focus the right way.
Right.
I don't know if that works with this kind of technology, Barrett.
It's not working today. You guys mind if I let me I'm gonna log
you log out. Let's get you fixed.
Hey, I'll share something with you, Rob. Back in the day when I worked in Pittsburgh at NBC from 87 to 97. So one time I'm in Madison Square Garden. I'm about to do a live shot before the Penguins take on the Rangers. And so producer Calvin Washington is a great friend of mine. He was one of the best directors. I mean, one of the best directors I've ever worked with. You know, we're like about 60 seconds away from me going live, and I can hear him talking back in the studio about, we got audio issues. And then all of a sudden Calvin says, D-Gun, take your blazer off. And I got a shirt and tie on. I'm like, what? I had a beautiful it was a black and white houndstooth blazer on. Okay. And then he said, D-Gun, you got to take your blazer off now. And I'm like, I thought he was joking because he and I, like us, you never know when you're serious. And now something in the pattern in the houndstooth blazer was disrupting the audio. And so as soon as I took the blazer off, it cleared up the audio. Now, obviously, technology has come a long way since back then, but it was just amazing that something in a pattern of a piece of clothing was affecting the audio signal going back to Pittsburgh from New York.
It is amazing, isn't it? It really is. What'll set something off. And there are certain like checkered, patterns that you can't wear. And ideally, if you're in studio, you don't want to just be wearing if you're not wearing a sport coat, if you're a man, just wearing a white shirt doesn't come off particularly well. It really does. There are a bunch of things that will set a camera off in those settings for sure.
That is the only time in my entire career something like that happened. Yeah. Just that one time. But I won't say the person's name, but we worked with a guy, and I'm sure you know who I'm talking about, was a sharp dresser, very sharp dresser. Like he stepped out of GQ every time he dressed. And yet the bosses were always, hey, you can't wear this pattern with this pattern. And I'm like, wait a minute. You have some people here who dress like they just stepped out of the city dump. You don't say anything to them. Now, it wasn't me, wasn't you. But this dude here dresses meticulously every day, from the shirt, the suit, the tie. Sometimes he would combine a plaid, a
with a stripe,
and a paisley, but it looked sharp. It went together.
It worked.
He would get more grief. Yeah.
Well, he wasn't just throwing things together. Like he clearly had an eye for it, or had a stylist or whatever. And it wasn't always traditional. It wasn't always, the just a black tie with a red and whatever. He always had I'm trying the best way to put it. Like he had an idea what he was doing. Okay, there was a plan.
Yes. Oh my goodness.
And management tended to get on him about it. And I'm with you. Like I would see other folks on our air who were allowed to get away with things, and I'm like, you're going to give him a hard time because
exactly.
And that person looks like that. Yeah. I agree with you.
I mean, great reporter, anchor, great sharp, and you mess with this dude, but you don't mess with other people.
Yeah.
Who didn't come close to bringing it like this person did. And I'm like,
yeah, always prepared, worked hard. Yep.
Yes, did his homework, hey, that's neither here nor there. That's the past, you know what I mean? But that was weird. That was weird, man. So when Barrett held up the white piece of paper to a Mac, see, we're used to white balances with studio cameras, field cameras, and stuff like that. We had to do it all the time. I didn't know you could do that with a Mac. Just hold up the white paper and without touching any buttons.
Maybe you can't because it worked for a second and then it went right back to he was in the Blue Man Group after that. Yeah.
But he's done that before where he just held up the paper, boom, and it jumped, it just popped right in.
Absolutely.
But, could be weather, anything.
Well, we're glad to have you back, man. And we're glad to see everybody in the chat section. Coming up at 1:30, we'll be taking we'll go hardcore, taking some questions from the chat section. So just want to pre-prepare people for that. But good to be hanging out with everybody. Let me get your impressions, Derek. You were a little under the weather yesterday, so you didn't really have a chance with us, at least. I know you did on the post-game show, the JAKIB post-game show, but you didn't get a chance with us on Sports Take to just sort of talk about the Eagles game and the win over the Giants and, where we sit right now on Tuesday. So what are your thoughts on the way it all went down?
Well, initially, I know going into that game, you and I were concerned about it being a closer game than what, it turned out to be initially. And we know it's the trend to defer. But for the life of me, when you're the road team, especially a Giants team that's handcuffed offensively, why would you give the ball to the home team with their quarterback back, with their left tackle back, right tackle back? Why would you give them the ball to open the game? And they went right down the field and stuck it down your throat, and it was downhill for them after that. Giants had no answers on defense whatsoever, for this team. They had no answers on offense whatsoever.
You're right.
For this thing.
It's a good way to put it, on either side of the ball.
On either side of the ball, had no answers whatsoever for this team. They could make no adjustments. It was one of those. It was the perfect storm for the Eagles and the perfect nightmare for the Giants. Daboll, Martindale could do nothing with the flow of this game whatsoever. Sometimes you try to switch things up on the fly just to slow down the momentum on what they couldn't do it. They couldn't do it. Absolutely couldn't do that. Jalen Hurts only had to throw 24 passes. Okay. A.J. Brown was a non-factor in the game. They beat the brakes off this team by 31 points.
Yeah.
Okay. That tells you just how potent this team can be when all the cylinders are clicking.
Well, let's dig in on your point on the fourth down, because Barrett and I talked about it yesterday. It just told me Daboll knew his defense couldn't stop the Eagles' offense right away. And the fact that he went for it there, but he just had no feel later. Like there was a situation later he should have went for it and he didn't. I don't think believe me, the Giants were outclassed by the Eagles, but I didn't think Daboll had his best game either. So
no question.
I think he was really just in a sort of like feeling around mode and didn't know what to do with this Eagles team because he knew, I think, immediately we're in big trouble here.
I think Daboll not having his best game was a byproduct of him not being able to do anything, no matter what he tried, no matter what their game plan was going in, no matter how much he tried to alter or deviate from the norm. You could, body language says a lot at certain points in the game. And I think, when they showed shots of him on the sideline in the third quarter, I think that said it all in terms of, what, just ain't our day. You know what? We were a great Cinderella story. Let's just ride this thing out and just make it respectable. And then Kenneth Gainwell breaks that one off to put the exclamation point on what was a dominant day on both sides of the football. Lights out for the Giants. Hey, you guys were a great story. One of the great storylines of the 2023 season, but your storyline has come to a crashing halt. Mm-hmm. This Eagles defense was ramped up. Hassan Reddick was a man possessed early on in that game. It couldn't stop him, couldn't do anything.
Had no answers for him.
Had no answers for him whatsoever. Even when he didn't get the sack, he disrupted the flow of the passing game, made Daniel Jones get rid of the ball a lot sooner than he wanted to. I thought the Eagles defense did a great job of taking away the lanes for Daniel Jones to try to run. They forced him outside a lot and corralled him on the sideline instead of allowing him to turn up and get up the field. the receiving core, the Giants receiving core, and we knew that going into the game. You're talking about inferior product compared to a superior product on the other side of the football, and it showed. It showed itself. So and we all did the same thing. When we said, you really can't gauge anything by that last meaningless game of the season because it was the Eagles starting offense versus the JV squad. The Eagles let you know Week 14 was not a fluke. That's how much better we are than the New York Giants this season. We just want you to know what's coming. Anybody coming up next against us, here's what's coming. Try to stop it. The fact, and I go back to this again, the fact that A.J. Brown only had 3 catches and 20-something yards receiving.
Yeah.
And they won by 31 points still. If I'm anybody else, I'm sitting there going, oh, shoot, we have major problems.
Well, and the other thing is the Eagles went back to, look, we can just destroy you on the ground, for 268. So,
oh my goodness,
it doesn't. You had Devontae Smith had a good game, not a great game.
Exactly.
AJ did very little. Goddard was certainly more involved, but there's more there for Goddard. Like there are so many other things that they can just unsheath here and untap offensively, and that's why. Look, I totally respect the Niners and what they bring to the table as a defense. However,
right.
Let's not mistake this that they never give up any points. They will give up some points. And with an offense this talented, the Eagles should be able to do some damage, enough damage, in my estimation.
Well, guys, I've been trying to explain it to you. Let me stop saying that. When I look at their defense, I see a great defense. When I look at our offense, I see a great offense. They know how to make you pick wrong, at every turn. All right, you're trying to stop the passing game on the outside. All right, we don't have to stop. We don't have to stop passing. We'll just pass in the inside. We can go to our tight ends. We can go to our running backs. Okay, then you want to stop us from passing. Period. All right, put a light box out there because in order to stop the pass, you gotta cover. So you got people out. You got to send resources out there to cover. That means you're gonna give a light box. So now I'm gonna hit you in the head with my running backs and my quarterback. Now you got to put that defender back in the box. Now Jalen Hurts can read and he can still run the ball by optioning out your best player. They can totally take Nick Bosa out the game by optioning off him and making him pick wrong. Hand the ball off or Jalen keep it. Oh, if you really want to, you really want to piss us off, all right, you know what we're going to do? We're going to bring in both our tight ends. You know what I'm saying? And we're just going to pound the rock with our offensive line. In which you can't stop that. You can't. I don't care how good you think your linebackers are. We got the best in the league. We'll put him on Fred Warner and just pound it down your throat. You know what I'm saying? We got an athlete at the center position that's just as good as the athlete that you have at the linebacker position. We'll just pound the rock. Oh, by the way, we got 750 pounds sitting on our left side coming downhill. Say what you want to say about Nick Bosa. He don't want no parts of that fire right there. No parts of it. So, I mean, we have an equalizer at every point. We can play our game and make them adapt to us. And that's the biggest thing that I don't think they'll be used to. They won't be used to having to adapt to what we're doing. They're used to going out there and dictating tempo. We dictate the tempo on what we want to do. And that's why I didn't have a lot of problems with, Shane Steichen say, all right, if I want to pass, I'm just going to pass because I want to pass. Or I want to run because I want to run because I have the people that I can do that at any point during the game.
Yeah, I just love the diversity of the multitude of this offense, the way that you can hurt teams a lot of different ways. And, you look at some of the things that are going on. The fact that Lane Johnson didn't even give up a pressure in the game, being hurt. He's gone 447 snaps. Not allowed a sack or a quarterback hit, 1 quarterback pressure, and 447 snaps. This guy just dominates every week. It doesn't matter.
He had me a little worried early on in that first series when he grabbed at the groin.
Same.
And I'm thinking, oh no, man, come on, man.
That was the first play, wasn't it? The first.
I think it was the second. I think it was the second. I think it was that deep pass
to
that Jalen threw to Devontae for 40 yards when he grabbed. If I'm not mistaken, I believe it was the second play of the game. Got it. Okay. No, it was the 7th play on that same first drive. That's where Jalen scrambled from the 22 to the 16. That's when he grabbed his groin. Yeah. So, I'm thinking, come on, Lane. Not today, bro. Not today. I know. And thank goodness he stayed in there because I still think the Eagles would have blown him out. But I don't want to see any parts of Jack Driscoll on the right side of that line. I really don't. You know,
Not at all.
And I hate to say that. I hate to say that.
I'm with you, but no, it's just some of it isn't even as much a knock on Driscoll. It's just how great Lane Johnson is. I mean,
right.
Exactly.
So yeah, I listen. I hear you. Hey, by the way, 12:30, we're gonna have Brandon Lee Gouton from Bleeding Green Nation. He's gonna be joining us at 12:30. We're gonna do a little Niners Eagles comp coming up. You'll be surprised at some of these numbers that we're gonna throw your way too. But good news yesterday coming out of the Eagles. I thought, well, possibly good news, optimistic news, I guess. Avonte Maddox, when Nick Sirianni was asked about Avonte, he said basically, look, you know, it's possible. It's possible he's going to return. He may even practice this week. Now, we don't know yet. Tuesday's an off day. They'll get back at it tomorrow. But even if practicing today means that he could, if they advance, possibly play in the Super Bowl, man, what a boost that would be to the defense.
Let me say this, and I'll repeat it all week long. You don't need Avonte Maddox to beat the 49ers the way this defense is playing right now. You want your best players on the field, no doubt about it. But you don't need Avonte Maddox. I'd roll the dice and say, look, man, we get the Super Bowl, you got to roll. Because now you have 2 additional weeks to get ready for this one. I don't want to put him out there and aggravate it, and even if they win, they don't have him to play Kansas City or Cincinnati.
Right.
You know, you don't need him at this stage right now to do what you need to do. If you get the pressure, I think you can get on Purdy and disrupt him. And if this offense puts it down the field on them and puts points and make them play catch up, yes, I would love to have Avonte, but I don't want him out there with that toe. The toe injury is one of those injuries, man, you just don't know. It's like the high ankle sprain. It's like the strained hamstring. Man, you get out there, feels good. All of a sudden, one false move, boom, you're done. Mm-hmm. So I would say, if you're getting out there, you're getting ready, you're practicing, good, keep doing what you're doing, but we're going to pump the brakes on you and believe that we can get to the Super Bowl without you at this point.
Yeah. Yeah. Going to be interesting to see what ends up happening there. I mean, Reed Blankenship's held his own for sure, but if you can get Avonte back and put everybody back in the place that they were earlier in the season on the defensive side, it's going to be – it could be a hell of a team to deal with. That's for sure. Already doing a great job defensively.
Exactly.
7 points. You know, I mean, it's remarkable. Hey, I wanted to hit –
Go ahead, I was going to say, you see what Dallas did, you know, and I was talking about how Wilson is, you know, the DB. Hold on, let me pull up their roster again. How they were able to stop them because there were key guys that you know that were better athletes than what they had on the offensive side of the ball. You know, everybody talks about how Kittle and all that stuff.
Right.
Yes, they're good, man, but they were able to stop him, man. And I'm sorry, Devontae Wilson. Wilson played a hell of a game, man. He virtually was a thorn in their hindsight the entire game. And I told you, because the way he is, he's an aggressive guy that plays around the line of scrimmage. We have that as CJGJ. Mm-hmm. We can cover him. Kittle's always a guy that he makes things happen. You can put CJGJ on him, or you could put him on the running back, because you have to have a guy that can go out there and really match up with the athletes they have on the field. We know that Debo will, he'll try to get his, but we have guys that can cover him. I love our DBs against all those guys, but the X factors is when you're dealing with the running back and you're dealing with that tight end, because you really have no one that can tie them, because they create matchups that don't don't necessarily vibe with how you work teams. And that's what makes that's what make our defense, our offense so good. Who do you match up with a Dallas Goedert? It's hard, to match up with Dallas Goedert when you don't have anybody to cover him. Mm-hmm. Well, we have guys that can cover McCaffrey. We have guys that can cover Kittle. And because of that, that's why our defense will play well against that offense.
I'll tell you what I would do. I would have Bradbury on Debo more so than I would have Slay.
That's size against size.
I would have, and I've said this before and I'll say it again. I think Bradbury has had a much better, much more consistent season than Darius Slay has. And if you're going to go matchup for matchup, I would not. Now, I take my chances with Slay on Ayuk. Ayuk is a crafty receiver. Not only is he fast, but he's quick.
Yeah.
He adjusts on a dime. I'm looking at some of the routes he's run, not just this last game, but when he's going one, all of a sudden he breaks. It's like watching a cheetah, how a cheetah can stop on a dime and break. But you know what? I think Slay can stay with him. But
Well,
I would
Slay's
definitely
game,
have
though.
Huh?
That's
Yeah.
Slay's game. He
I would
plays
definitely
like
have.
that.
I would definitely have Bradbury on Debo. Now the thing is, Gannon doesn't like to move his DBs back and forth a lot, but because you're gonna have Debo all this motion stuff, jet sweep out of the backfield, running the ball, maybe a reverse. 49ers like to run their reverse every now and then, so that's a little bit better. I mean, that's a little bit more difficult to try to have your cornerback moving around because you don't know where he's going to be at any given point in time. But if he's on that side of the field, or if he's just a straight alignment, I would move him in that regard. If I see Debo lining up over here, and then he's going to go in motion, I'm having to move most because if he's going to go with that jet sweep, I got Bradbury sitting in the hole waiting for him on the opposite side. Let him run it.
Yeah,
let him run it.
Like I think there's some things you could take from Dallas. I mean, I thought they did a pretty good job on Debo. McCaffrey didn't kill them. They did a pretty decent job on McCaffrey.
Right.
There's some things to take away from that, what the Cowboys ended up doing in that game. Because as Barrett has pointed out many times, it wasn't really on the defense. That was on the quarterback for the Cowboys. Why they lost that game.
The defense, Dallas's defense played well enough to win that game for them.
Sure.
There's no question about that.
No doubt.
They had the perfect game plan. They got pressure up the middle on Purdy, and the D ends kept him in the corral a lot. Now, 49ers made some adjustments in the second half. Purdy likes to get outside. Purdy likes to spin around and do all that stuff to buy time. Purdy is not going to kill you running the ball, but Purdy, a lot of his success is based on him being able to float.
Yeah.
And he's pretty good at doing that floating, and waiting for one of his guys to clear.
Well, even the catch by Kittle, which was a great catch, he did a great job buying time on that.
Oh, he did. I mean, my goodness, And again, I think the biggest difference, these teams are so evenly matched. Number one, number two, defense, wide receivers, key players. I think these teams are so evenly matched, but the one big difference for me will be the quarterback. The play of Jalen Hurts compared to the play of Purdy. Purdy has not, been on the road much. He's had a lot of his success at home. The Eagles, they don't care where they play, how they play, underwater, on top of Mount Everest. They don't care. They're going to play their game. When their game is on, they dare you to beat them at their game.
Yeah.
Can the 49ers come in here no, I know the team can. Can Purdy come in here and withstand this crowd, this type of pressure that he's going to see?
Yep. But he's never played on the East Coast, Derek, as a starter.
No.
In the pros. In the pros,
right.
He's done it in college.
No.
But
I don't think he can.
He's never faced a defense like he's about to face on Sunday,
Right,
regardless
right.
of the fans. We already know playing in the vet. I played in the vet, and when I came back to play in the vet, it was even more intimidating. I knew what I was going to get. But we're talking about the link. The link is also another beast that players come in here. They make you think because you can't hear. It's a hostile environment, and it really Philly fans just dictate more to games than probably any other fan base. You can't just come in this place and think that you're just going to win. Now, Purdy's a rookie, number one. Number two, he's never played against a defense that's as fast and as physical. He's never been moved out of spot like he'll be moved in this game. Dallas was able to move him around. They were able to sack him, put pressure on him, and we had 30 more sacks than they did.
70 to 44.
26 more.
Yeah.
So when you look at what he's going to be facing and the amount of pressure that he's going to have on it, their right side is porous, and the matchup of the game is more than likely going to be Big Williams versus Reddick.
Let me give you guys this one. Kind of interesting here. You hate seeing, what went down, but this could impact the 49ers depending on what happens. Charles, and I forgive the pronunciation.
Better you than me.
Omenihu, Omenihu. Okay. He's a starting defensive end. He was arrested Monday afternoon at 4:39 for suspicion of misdemeanor domestic violence. Yeah. Now, I don't know if he's going to play or not in the game. We'll have to see. But this is a guy who's an integral piece of their line. He didn't play a ton of snaps last week. I think that was more of a matchup thing with the Cowboys. But he's among the team leaders in snaps along that D line all season. So that could be a big piece, man. You know, it's just someone else, someone less than Bosa. You know, someone else out of there. Should be interesting.
I don't understand, and we understand there are problems in a lot of relationships, but when do you learn to walk away? You know, at what point do you learn to just walk away and let cooler heads prevail? Why do you allow it to get physical? And I don't know, and I don't know the situation, obviously, but as a player, you have seen enough of it. You have heard enough of it. You know, whatever you did or you're going to say you did not do, it's going to be magnified 1,000 times over because of social media and because of all the reports coming out there. And every time you hear a report, there's a new twist to any and everything that you hear. So whether it's mostly truthful or there's some fallacy involved as well, the bottom line is you put your management in an unenviable position now because you paid your fine, you know, to get out of jail. Now you have this restraining order on you. This is a bad look for the organization because they're going to have to make a definitive decision on whether or not you're going to play in this game, the biggest game of the season. They've got to make a decision now. If we allow him to play, people are going to say, there you go, protecting athletes again. You know, if you don't sit him down, when you've seen all the domestic violence that has taken place across the NFL and other sports as well, you know, if you don't sit him down, then you got a far greater public outcry that you didn't do what was right. And a lot of that opinion may be based on because we don't know the intricacies of exactly what happened behind closed doors. But you put this organization now in a position that's going to disrupt the flow of trying to get ready for the last game to get you to a shot at the Super Bowl. You've been there for the second consecutive year. This is the third time in 4 years you've been knocking at the door. And now you got somebody who stepped outside of character at the worst possible time of the season, which is disrupting the entire game plan and blueprint for what's to come in a hostile environment on the road this Sunday.
It can't help you, man. I mean, I can remember, you know, the year I went to the Super Bowl. The wide receiver, the DB that Ben Roethlisberger tackled on that fumble recovery.
Yeah.
He was actually a starter. And the night before the Super Bowl, his wife and him had a domestic violence thing, and his wife cut his knee.
Yeah. Oh, his calf.
Yeah. And he didn't end up starting the game. Somebody else started for him, but he's the one that Ben was able to tackle to save the game. You know what I'm saying? And if he had been healthy, I don't know if Ben would have been able to do it, but he wasn't healthy because he had a cut knee.
Yeah.
So, you know, I mean, that's no joke, man. Domestic violence is no joke at all, man. Especially during these type of situations, these type of games. Ever
since the Ray Rice incident, it has been under the microscope like never before, and rightfully so. I mean, you think about, go back before that, and think about how many cases were under the radar.
Sure.
Because management was able to make it go away before it blew up nationally. You know, there's a lot of cover-ups. There's so many cover-up stories in the history of the NFL that we will never know about. It's frightening in a lot of ways.
Yeah.
You know, but the Ray Rice incident, and Ray Rice never played again in the NFL. You know. The Ray Rice incident put domestic violence on the national map, and rightfully so.
Yep.
And put them under the microscope. But I go back to what I initially said. I don't know what the situation was like, but at some point, if it was just a matter of verbally arguing, why would you? And again, I'm speculating. Why would you put your hands physically on a woman instead of being man enough to just walk away, leave the house, go get a breath of fresh air, calm down, something, anything other than that? You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
I don't understand that. I really don't.
Well said. All right, let's get a timeout. When we come back, Brandon Lee.
Already?
What? It's that time. It is that time. We got Brandon coming up next. He's going to be joining us when we return. Don't go anywhere. We got the gang is all here. We got Barrett. We got Derek. We got me. I'm Rob. We are hanging out with you. We are Sports Take, JAKIB Sports YouTube Network on this Tuesday. I want to tell you about Jim Murray and Principal Financial Group, because you know it can be really difficult finding the right person to trust with your finances. I went through it, but I found the right person, and I want you to have that right person as well. Whether it's retirement planning, 401k review, insurance review, you might have a small business, you're trying to get your employee benefits off the ground, you're not really sure exactly what the best way to go about that is. That's another resource that Jim can help you with. I've entrusted my IRA, my 401k rollover with Jim Murray and Principal Financial Group, and I couldn't be any happier. Give him a call, 610-996-4751, 610-996-4751. You can also email him, Murray, MURRAY.Jim@principal.com. That's Murray.Jim@principal.com.
My name is Fran Salerno. I'm a managing director here at Del Valle Insurance Group. Been in the business for over 36 years, saving people money on their insurance needs. Give us a call. Let us help you custom design an insurance plan that meets both your needs and budget.
Since 1977, it's always been about you, the community, at Rafferty Subaru. And through the Subaru Love Promise, we prove we care by supporting charities like So Good Now.
So Good Now helps kids in under-resourced areas by connecting them with student athletes to serve as mentors. We remove barriers so athletes can help youth in the corners of our communities where light and love are needed most.
When you choose Rafferty Subaru, you help organizations like So Good Now.
It's all about you at Rafferty Subaru.
Go for the beers, go for the cheers, go for the hit and the hits. Go for the scene. Go for the screens. Go for the gallery. Go for the win. Go to Ocean.
We all know that taxes are just part of life. It's true during our working years, but also in retirement. But what you might not know is up to 85% of your Social Security benefits might be taxed. Our team at Thrive Financial has helped retire thousands of people across the Delaware Valley by asking questions they never knew they needed to ask, including how their Social Security benefits might be taxed. It's time to be proactive on taxes. Get your Thrive Retirement Tax Playbook today.
Post-game show with Seth Joyner,
I knew that they had a running game.
Derek Gunn,
He has put in the effort.
Devin Caney,
Had we not won the Super Bowl, what would we be saying?
and Mike Missinelli.
Well, you know who Philly is.
Post-game, now streaming on the 6ABC family of apps.
We're back. Yes, we are. We're Sports Take, JAKIB Sports YouTube Network. Derek Gunn, Barrett Brooks, Rob Ellis hanging with you on this Tuesday, talking Eagles. And joining us right now does an awesome job. Eagles reporter, manager, and editor-in-chief, Bleeding Green. And you can follow him on Twitter at Brandon Galton. Brandon, what's up, man? How you making out?
I'm doing good. How's it going, guys?
Good. I want to start with this.
Good.
It was a quiet day for A.J. Brown. We talked about it a little bit earlier, but you threw out a very interesting stat when he was with the Titans last year. Now, granted, there was no Derrick Henry in the game, so you figure they're going to be a little bit more pass happy when that's the case. However, he had a big one. He had a really big game against them. 11 catches, 145 yards, and a touchdown on 16 targets. So he's had some success before against them. I know different teams and all that kind of stuff, but it's something, just a little seed to be planted for this game, because you know he's going to be fired up to bounce back after a quiet one.
Yeah, absolutely. And yeah, he won't be able to take advantage of Josh Norman, who was out there last year. But still, I mean, at the same time, like I said in the tweet, you'll also have Devontae Smith and Dallas Goedert on the field, and Miles Sanders as well, where the Titans outside of AJ Brown, kind of had the corpse of Julio Jones and not much else going on for them there. So yeah, I think AJ kind of rose to the challenge in that game. I was rewatching some of the highlights from that one, and I think he really kind of liked the battle with a physical 49ers defense and kind of took that personally and wanted to own that matchup. And I think, after having a game where he only had 3 catches for 22 yards, and he could have had more. I think Jalen Hurts overthrew him in the end zone there at one point. I think AJ is primed for a big game against a 49ers team that, if they're weak somewhere on defense, again, they give up the 6th most yards to wide receivers.
Brandon, I was just going to bring that up. I saw you put that out there on Twitter about 4 hours ago. For a team that finished as the #1 defense in the NFL, that is eye-opening, the amount of yardage they give up to wide receivers.
Yeah, and they have the talent in the middle of the field, right? It's all about the linebackers. I mean, we saw what's his name? The name is escaping me.
Fred Warner.
Yeah, sorry, Fred Warner. Run down the field with CeeDee Lamb. I mean, how many linebackers do you see running down the field with a #1 wide receiver like that? That's insane. So, I think this is maybe not a Dallas Goedert week like it was against the Giants linebackers, who are not too good. I think it's more about working the outside, which I think is interesting too, because if you think about Jalen Hurts' game, he's gotten better at throwing over the middle of the field, but what he really wants to do is kind of more so work outside the numbers.
When I look at, this young quarterback coming into a hostile environment like this and being able to take advantage of the defense he's about to face, man, I think it's slim to none of the chances of being successful, considering the fact that, there's not been a rookie go to the Super Bowl. But number one, because he hasn't played against a defense like he's about to face this week. What are you thinking as far as him coming into our house and playing in our stadium?
Yeah, so it's kind of like the opposite in terms of, I would worry where the 49ers don't have to worry about the middle of the field, I think, as much because of the talent they have. I think that is the area where the Eagles, are going to be probably attacked there. I think TJ Edwards has had a nice year. I think Kaiser White has kind of been up and down. He's done some good things. He's had some struggles. And Kyle Shanahan's going to look to go after those guys. And, I think that's going to be very interesting there. To your point, though, Barrett, we have not seen a rookie quarterback get to the Super Bowl. They're 0-4 in these championship games. And 4 touchdowns to 9 combined interceptions for these guys. Average margin of defeat in these games has been 10.25 points. So, not even close games in these losses. So historically, this is the standard for Jonathan Gannon. If the 49ers win this game, then that's a really bad look for him.
Yeah, I'm fascinated what he's going to how he's going to respond. It was his first game as a starter on the East Coast, going into a really hostile environment. And again, some of this is not just him. It's the way Kyle Shanahan has coached him up and the weapons that he has around him and all those kind of things, Brandon. But ultimately, at some point, it feels like the deeper you get into this, your quarterback's going to have to win a game for you or make huge critical plays down the stretch. And, if you're asking me who I trust more in that situation, I trust Jalen Hurts more in that spot.
Absolutely. And, I think Purdy was kind of begging to turn the ball over a bit there against the Cowboys. He had that drop pick, obviously, by Trayvon Diggs. I also think beyond the interceptions of it all, he just held the ball for a really long time sometimes. And you can't do that against this Eagles pass rush. They're going to get home. They're going to knock it out too. And, I think something that's kind of been flying under the radar here with the Eagles pass rush is, they've gotten some of these strip sacks, think about against Justin Fields, think about against Dak, think about just against Daniel Jones, and they haven't been able to recover any of them. Some of that's just bad luck, right? The ball bounces a certain way, you're not getting bounces. They're probably going to be due for some good luck at some point if they get that ball out. So I think that's something to watch.
Where as far as the running game, my matchup with the offensive line being the best offensive line in the league against, they're saying the best linebacking core in Nick Bosa in the league. I just think we have too much firepower as far as too much, 700 pounds on one side of the ball. The centers and all pro, the right guards and right tackles and all pro. Yes, you have 2 good linebackers and a defensive end. I just think we have more resources in there to dominate the game, even when running the ball and dictating tempo, whatever they want to do. That's just my way of thinking. What are you thinking about that?
Eagles offensive line is playing at a whole nother level right now. Hassan Reddick alone against the Giants, and let's be clear, Hassan's obviously fantastic right now. He had 7 pressures according to Pro Football Focus in that Giants game. Giants team as a whole against the Eagles offensive line had 7 pressures combined with the 19 players they played on defense. That is insane. Lane Johnson, who is, playing through this groin injury, 0 pressures allowed. He had 2 penalties, but you'll take that with the 0 pressures allowed. And look, Nick Bosa is certainly better than anyone the Giants have. I mean, for as good as a year as Hassan Reddick is having, like I just said, Bosa has 18.5 sacks right now. I mean, he's at a different level. But you have to feel good about the way Lane is playing and the offensive line as a whole is playing, and the fact that Jeff Stoutland is here. So that's another unit I trust in right now.
How about that? I mean, the interesting thing with the stats. So the Eagles during the regular season had 70 and San Fran had 44. But it was much more spread out for the Eagles. Yeah, Reddick was unbelievable. But, we all know they had 4 guys in double digits, right? If you look at the 49ers, it's not as evenly dispersed here, Brandon. You had, 18 and a half or what? Yeah, I think it was for altogether for Bosa. The next guy with the highest sack total had 5. Like they're not anywhere near the Eagles level in terms of their ability to get after the quarterback. One guy is for sure, but not as a unit, that defensive line.
And then Charles Amenahu here, who just as we're right before recording here, facing allegations of domestic violence.
Yeah.
He's second on their roster in sacks this season. So, and if you include the playoffs. So, it's not really a deep group as much as it is, you have the super elite high-end talent in Bosa. There's something to be said for the deep group and the rotation, the fact that you can keep these guys fresh and, you're really allowed to be effective in limited playing time. I mean, we saw that with Brandon Graham this year. Brandon Graham had his best year of his career, even though he played the fewest snaps of his career.
Yeah.
When he's been a regular player. So, yeah, it's crazy how much being able to rotate these guys helps.
Hey, Brandon, what do you think about Nick Sirianni comparing Jalen Hurts to Michael Jordan?
I knew that was going to get some attention. I think you have to look at exactly what he was saying in terms of I don't think he was saying, because everyone's mind is going to go to, he's comparing the player. He did not say Jalen Hurts is the Michael Jordan of the NFL. I don't think no one's going to say that. It's just an outlandish thing to say.
Right.
I get where it's coming from. I think maybe don't invoke MJ Sirianni, but I understand there is something to be said, and we've said it probably all year throughout the year, just the confidence and the swagger and the personality the team takes on when Jalen Hurts is out there. There's just this calming presence. There's a stability that everything's going to be okay. You can trust it's going to work out. He's got us. We're going to be good. And really, it reminds me of Foles in the Super Bowl run. He had such a calming presence out there, and I think we're seeing a lot of that with Jalen as well.
Well, who are we to question anything? And I mean all of us, me included, to question and chuckle at anything Sirianni says, considering you go back to his first season when he started talking about watering plants. We're like, what the heck is this? We've covered this game a long time. I've never heard a coach say anything like that. Lo and behold, you understood it at the end of the season.
Players buy it. That's all that matters.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah, you saw C.J. Gardner-Johnson change his Twitter picture to the picture of Nick Sirianni with the chain on. So, it is working with them. And I think Sirianni's done a good job. It's really impressive what he's been able to do. I also think something that is becoming more apparent now is just how much of a villain he is to these other, for obviously Eagles fans love him, but man, these teams, other fans, now that they're seeing him on this playoff stage, they can't stand this guy. So I think that's even more fun if you're an Eagles fan that everyone else hates your coach.
Well, they win whenever you win a playoff game, obviously. But Brandon, he was in his zone for Saturday, man. He was, I know what the bleep I'm doing. The reaction to the touchdown. Even he's always demonstrative for a coach, a lot more than most for sure. But even by his standards, he was wired, man, on Saturday.
That's him though, right?
Yeah.
This isn't a put on. This isn't an act. That's Nick. He's that kind of guy. He is fired up. He's kind of unhinged is the word I would use sometimes. And I think, if you're going to be our authentic self, I think that's going to work out probably more often than not. I think between Sirianni and Jalen Hurts, this is a marriage of two individuals who are extremely competitive, and that word gets thrown around a lot, in sports. Obviously there's level of competition, but I think these are guys are obsessed at a different level. I think you're seeing that.
Mm-hmm. Well, looking at the matchups on, their offense against our defense, what's your key matchup going into this game?
Yeah, I mean, I'm going to go back to the AJ Brown of it all. It's just like I think for him to have that quiet of a game, I think he's due. He's gonna come through. I think you saw him sulking a bit, and there's the injury involved in there, but I think that's going to be critical. Um, Also, look again. Why did the Eagles win the Super Bowl in 2017? Easy answer: they dominated in the trenches, and that's what they did against the Giants. And I think they're going to have to continue to do that. And I know it's going to be a lot of it's going to be tough to run on this 49ers defense, and it will be because they're physical, they hit hard. At the same time, we saw the Eagles go up against the Saints the past couple of years, this #1 run defense, and they were able to run on those defenses. So, I wouldn't shy away from anything. If I'm the Eagles, I say play your game. You don't have to be afraid of this team at all. They're respectable. They're a great team. 49ers are great. You have to respect the heck out of them. But I would not be. You can't play afraid of this opponent.
Brandon, what's one of the biggest matchups you'll be watching when this game is played on Sunday?
I mean, I think you have to look at the coaching of it all too. In terms of Nick Sirianni, he's giving the Eagles an edge when he's going for it on 4th down and being aggressive. Whereas Kyle Shanahan is kind of the opposite. He gets into situations where maybe it's 4th and 2. He wants to kick the field goal, and in a big game like this where points could be maybe at a premium. I think that's a big deal. Now, obviously, Shanahan's done a great job in terms of 49ers on this big winning streak and everything. But, there's times where I think he's going to leave points on the field, and I expect Sirianni to be aggressive. And I think, at the end of the day, that aggression is going to win out.
How much, Brandon, how much in your estimation in watching that game Sunday between the Cowboys and the 49ers was the 49ers just enforcing their will, doing what they do versus the Cowboys not being up for that moment?
Yeah, that's a good question. I think a lot of the 49ers are doing defensively, you have to give them a lot of credit. At the same time, I thought the 49ers were the better team than the Cowboys were. And I thought it would be better for the Eagles from a standpoint of if you want to get the worst team, it's probably better if the Cowboys come into the link because I don't think they were quite as good, even though, better quarterback. But when you weigh it all together, and that's the thing, like Brock Purdy, he doesn't even need to play super well. That's the crazy thing. He doesn't need to have an awesome game because of just how good that defense is. They can kind of bail him out and really carry the team. It's not many units in the league that can do that. It's pretty rare, and obviously Shanahan will do his best to make the most of what Purdy can give them. But yeah, I mean, I think a lot of it is a testament to the 49ers. I think they're a great team.
Do you like Gannon and his way he calls plays? Recently, I mean, do you think he's going to be more aggressive?
I think Gannon deserves some credit for. Obviously the performance as a whole, keeping the Giants to 7. But one of my most favorite things from that game, taking away, was he forced the issue on the Daniel Jones turnover. CJ Gardner-Johnson came on a blitz.
Yep.
Daniel Jones had to get it out hot. James Bradbury, a very good corner, was able to take advantage and jump the route, make the pick. And to do that against a Giants team that had the fewest interceptions in the league this year, Daniel Jones did a great job of taking care of the football. I thought that was really impressive, and also kind of speaks to the fact that it's not about blitzing on every down, but it's about picking your spots at least and finding times to actually be aggressive, force the issue, force the team you're playing into a mistake as opposed to just sitting back and waiting for that mistake to happen.
Do you think the Eagles will lose either one of their coordinators? Or when you look at the competition they're stacked up against out there in terms of job opportunities, that maybe this is just not their year? I mean, if there ever was a year for either one of these guys to shine and move on, it would be this year. But there's some stiff competition out there.
Yeah, and the timing doesn't help them necessarily. The candidates in that, they can't be hired officially, at least until after the Eagles season is over. So if they're going to the Super Bowl, maybe a better chance you can hang on to them. I tend to think Gannon's going to get a job. There was a lot of buzz about him being the favorite in Houston last year before things kind of went sideways there, and the Brian Flores lawsuit happened, and ended up hiring Lovie Smith instead. So, I think they might end up going with him, although D'Amico Ryan certainly seems like he's in play there as well. And I would go with D'Amico if it was up to me. But also, I think I saw Albert Breer say there's some buzz that the former Titans executive, the Cardinals might have interest in Gannon. So, we'll see on him. I tend to think a team is going to hire him before Steichen, even though I think Steichen might have more of the chops that a team might like to see in terms of the acumen. I think Gannon has more of the personality. I think just going off of what we've seen from Steichen in some press conferences, I don't know that teams are necessarily ready to think he might be like the CEO type to lead a team just yet.
If you jump back to the matchup here with the Niners, Brent, and you look at the weapons they have offensively, Kittle, McCaffrey, certainly Ayuk with Debo, do the weapons that they have counter what the Eagles do well, or does it kind of feed into what the Eagles do well with some of these guys who they're going to be leaning heavily on in your estimation?
I think it's hard to say from a standpoint of I don't think we've seen the Eagles play a team, quite like this in terms of how often they use, these multiple running back sets and an offense just of so much play action like this. They're kind of unique in that regard. And obviously just some of the, like George Kittle himself is just a unique talent that you don't see very often. So that's what part of what makes this matchup, I think, so interesting is that you don't fully know what to expect. This is a new look for this team.
Wait, a new look as in what? What do you mean
just
by
in
that?
terms of, again, these skill sets of these players
that they haven't faced?
Yeah, and in these also just the usage of the person. Again, you're talking about like 22 personnel. Like I just don't think we've seen a lot of the Eagles go up against a lot of that this year.
Well, yeah, and I've been trying to tell people that for the longest. It's funny, that they're going to see. Well, both of these teams are going to see a newness that they haven't experienced. Both teams will be that way. But I'm looking at, even the quarterback situation with, that defense, the 49er defense facing Jalen Hurts and them playing on the West Coast, understanding how, those quarterbacks are. You don't see quarterbacks like that necessarily in that division. You don't see that. You see, I mean, you got the Smurf down in with the Cardinals. But I mean, other than that, he's just running around, but he's not running around to run. He's running to push the ball down the field. Jalen Hurts does everything, what I'm saying, as far as he can look down the field. He can just go out there and outright run it. Do you play man-to-man against it? D'Amico Ryan's going to have his hands full trying to defend a guy like Jalen Hurts, man. And he hasn't experienced that yet. And those are one of the key matchups, I can't wait to see.
Yeah, I think one of the areas, again, that this 49ers defense has had some issues. We saw it last year, when they came to Philly. Jalen Hurts, I think, had something like 8 runs for 80 yards that day. He was able to have success with his legs. Obviously, Dak isn't the same runner he used to be, but he converted some key, he had some key first downs against this defense with his legs. So, I absolutely think that's going to be a factor. And look, the Eagles had Hurts 6 design runs for him in that Giants game. So, he's not limited in that regard. At least they're ready to use. And, this is the NFC Championship game. It's also the time to not save him anymore. Like you're going to go all out. So I absolutely expect Jalen Hurts' mobility to be a factor.
What has surprised you most about this team? What you thought they were going to be versus what they are? Is it the easy answer, the improvement of Hurts, or is it something else?
It has to be the extent. We can all say, even if you were one of the biggest proponents of Jalen Hurts, you thought, you believed in this kid, you were optimistic. I think you're lying if you said you thought he would be this good. And I also think you might be lying if you, because even, I had a skepticism about, how good he can be as a passer. I thought he can improve, but I didn't think it was a large bridge to gap from where he was last year to where he is this year. And I also think I probably underestimated, again, the value of leadership and the way the team takes on his calm personality. I think those things can kind of get overrated sometimes because I think talent at the end of the day is probably going to win out. But I think with him, it's kind of different. I think he's at a different level again. When I talked about that with Sirianni, when they're at like different levels of competitive, different levels of this composure. Like it's not something you see often, but I do think it matters here.
Hey, Brandon, the trend has been for years to defer when it comes to the opening kickoff. But in this particular game, if you win the coin toss, do you take the ball or defer? Obviously, if you're the home team and the Eagles did what they did against the Giants, it brings the house down. If the Niners, what do you do?
Well, I'll tell you what they're going to do, and they're going to defer because that's what they
what they do. Yep.
But yeah, we saw, like to your point, T-Gun, we just saw them, get that ball first, get it in the end zone, and stadium was rolling. And I think that's one of the biggest concerns I have when it comes to, again, in defense, when it, you're allowing the team to kind of convert these first downs. It's kind of sucking the wind or the air, the juice, whatever you want to call it, out of the stadium a little bit. Fans are they're not ready to get up and cheer as much for that maybe 4th, 3rd, and 3 conversion on a long drive. So, I see the merit in going for it. I might consider it, but we all know they're going to just differ.
It's all wishful thinking when it comes down to it. All right, Brand. So what happens, man? Eagles are 2.5 point favorites, depending on where you look today, heading into this one. What do you think in the game itself?
Yeah, I think, whereas we saw the Giants game kind of be like a redux of the NFC Championship game 5 years to the date against the Vikings, a blowout kind of performance. I think this is going to kind of be more of like that Falcons game from that playoff run where, it was 15-10 at the end. It came down to the wire. Right. I think this is going to be a very competitive, very tough game. This 49ers team, they play such a physical, tough brand of football, both offensively and defensively. Like, they run hard, they hit hard. It's going to be tough. At the end of the day, though, again, Eagles have the better quarterback. I think they're so strong in the trenches. Home field advantage is no small deal here. 49ers team can be had. We saw the Chiefs blow them out. We saw the Raiders give them a challenge late in the season.
500 net yards the Raiders put up against them.
Exactly. With Jared Stidham. This team is not invincible. I feel extremely confident in the Eagles. It's a similar feeling to I had back in during 2017 run. I just think they're not Jalen Hurts is not a quarterback you bet against right now. This Eagles team as a whole is not a team you bet against. I like the Eagles to win. It'll be close, but I like them to win.
Brandon, good stuff, man.
Yeah, appreciate you, bro.
Really good stuff, man. I suggest everybody check out Brandon's work. It's awesome. I read every single day. Eagles reporter, manager, and editor-in-chief at Bleeding Green. Follow him on Twitter at Brandon Gouton. Brandon, thanks, man. Thanks,
guys. Take it easy.
Appreciate you, bro.
Interesting insights always from Brandon there. I keep coming down to, and I try to simplify it like I did with the Giants. I know it's only Tuesday, and we'll get heavier into predictions and all that. But for the Giants game, I just started looking at positions and who wins, who checks off more boxes overall. Now, this is different. Certainly, San Fran is a lot more formidable in a lot of spots. I still give the advantage to the Eagles, and especially you start a quarterback, as far as I'm concerned. I just think at some point, Brock Purdy's got to look like a rookie. I mean, not everybody steps in there and is like Tom Brady or whatever. Like, is there a human piece of this thing with him on the road in a hostile environment, possibly in a game where he's got to bring him back or something like that? Could this be the game that he looks human and makes a mistake?
This by far will be his greatest challenge. Everybody has analyzed and dissected this young man. And let's face it, he has had an incredible run. But he has not seen what he's about to see at Lincoln Financial Field on Sunday in terms of fans, in terms of pressure, in terms of ebbs and flows. I mean, you're one of 4 teams left standing. There's 2 games left, and everybody who's a football fan, whether you're a fan of the Eagles or the Niners or not, whether you're a fan of the Chiefs or Bengals or not, is going to be watching because it's football and because so much money is being heavily bet on this game. And all that's going through his mind, and he's being pulled in 20 different ways. And I'm sure the organization has done an incredible job of shielding from all these multitudes of media requests and have him focus on just playing football. Hey, the Eagles have done it for years in terms of shielding their quarterback. Donovan McNabb, it doesn't make a difference who it is. They do an incredible job of shielding their primetime players away from the limelight and excessive exposure to open media. They want him nothing but football day and night. But the bottom line is you're facing a defense that had 70 quarterback sacks this year. They're coming, whether it's a 4-man front or occasionally Gannon will shock you and send a safety down. He'll put a safety down in the box or have a cornerback looping, or a corner coming off the edge. You're going to see some stuff you haven't seen in 17, or he hasn't played 17, but you haven't seen at all this year. I just don't think, as good as he's been, I don't think for 60 minutes he can stand the test of time in this environment. I just don't. Yeah, if he does, the first thing comes out of my mouth is wow.
Well, I also think, look, Bosa's going to get some pressure in there. We know you're going to have to get the ball out quick, but I just don't think the rest of that line stands up to what he brings to the table. And if he is in there quickly, either get it out quick or take off. I mean, the Eagles quarterback's a better runner than Dallas's quarterback, even though, Prescott's got some mobility. if that heat is really coming hard, this is where we
Yeah.
could see Jalen have a big leg game.
Yeah,
Exactly.
Well,
And
go ahead, B. Brooks.
you gotta look at this also, man. Can he hold up against the run?
Mhm.
You know, that's what I'm saying. Because I've seen him in run type situations. If he's on the outside, he's trying to get up the field, and you capture that outside on him.
Mhm.
Oh man, I just seen him get dumped on his head a lot, man. So
Mhm.
can he hold up against, you know, that 700 pounds leaning on you for an entire game. I don't care who you are. You get tired, bro. You get tired. And Jordan Mailata should feast on him on running plays just to make sure on passing plays he has a little less of that oomph in him.
That gas, yeah.
Yeah, absolutely. Absolutely. All right, let's come back and let's dig a little bit deeper into the Niners, go behind the numbers here and just see, you know, what the Eagles are up against here. We'll do that. We'll continue that discussion. We got a lot of good stuff from the NFL, some numbers about how many viewers watch the games over the weekend, what coaches are coming back, taking gigs, who's interviewing where, a lot of stuff in store for you. Don't go anywhere. By the way, coming up at 1:30, we'll take some questions from the chat section as well. So have your questions ready during that segment and fire away. All right, Barrett Brooks, Derek Gunn, Rob Ellis, Sports Take. Tell a friend, JAKIB Sports YouTube Network. Also pound that like button. All right, let's talk about Pro Action Restoration. Yeah, Pro Action Restoration is your go-to. It's your lifeline. If you have a home, you have a business, you have a property, and you go through the inconvenience of water, fire, smoke, mold damage, you name it, they can handle it. All right. They're on call 24 hours, 7 days a week to assist. I know this because I reached out to them on a Saturday. They got right over, cleaned up the problem. The price was reasonable. The crew was completely professional, clean, awesome situation. And it was just a big sigh of relief. I can tell you that for sure. They're licensed, bonded, fully insured. They've been serving the tri-state area for more than 2 decades. Pro Action will work in conjunction with your insurance company also. So again, water, fire, smoke damage, mold remediation, you name it, they can handle it. Give them a call, 610-623-3760, 610-623-3760, or online at proactionrestoration.com. That's proactionrestoration.com.
My name is Fran Salerno, and I'm a managing director here at Del Valle Insurance Group. Been in the business for over 36 years, saving people money on their insurance needs. Give us a call. Let us help you custom design an insurance plan that meets both your needs and budget.
Since 1977, it's always been about you, the community, at Rafferty Subaru. And through the Subaru Love Promise, we prove we care by supporting charities like So Good Now.
So Good Now helps kids in under-resourced areas by connecting them with student athletes to serve as mentors. We remove barriers so athletes can help youth in the corners of our communities where light and love are needed most.
When you choose Rafferty Subaru, you help organizations like So Good Now.
It's all about you at Rafferty Subaru.
Go for the beers, go for the cheers, go for the hit and the hits. Go for the scene. Go for the screens. Go for the gallery. Go for the win. Go to Ocean.
We all know that taxes are just part of life. It's true during our working years, but also in retirement. But what you might not know is up to 85% of your Social Security benefits might be taxed. Our team at Thrive Financial has helped retire thousands of people across the Delaware Valley by asking questions they never knew they needed to ask, including how their Social Security benefits might be taxed. It's time to be proactive on taxes. Get your Thrive Retirement Tax Playbook today.
Post-game show with Seth Joyner,
I knew that they had a running game.
Derek Gunn,
He has put in the effort.
Devin Caney,
Had we not won the Super Bowl, what would we be saying?
and Mike Missinelli.
Well, you know who Philly is.
Post-game, now streaming on the 6ABC family of apps.
Back, baby. Yes, we are. We are Sports Take, JAKIB Sports YouTube Network. D. Gunn, Brooke, RL is hanging out with you on this Tuesday, January 24th, man. We're going to be out of January in a week.
Here's the best thing about January right now, because I tell you guys all the time, well, yeah, that January and February, I hate those months because those are the coldest months, the most unpredictable months in terms of snowfall. So far, no snow. We've had an abundance of rain, as it has been the case across the country. And when you see some of the massive floodings taking place, especially out west, it's just mind-boggling. But no snow, number one. The month is almost over. And February is the shortest month of the year. Those three things. You know, the quicker we get through February, the happier I'll be. I told you, the revamped D-Gun so far through 24 days has kept his promise to you two. I've been a kinder, gentler person. I'm trying, but I'll be even happier if we get through this winter. What'd you say? What'd you say?
Word. I didn't.
What you gotta say? What?
I was coughing.
You dispute the notion that I've been kinder and gentler in the 24 days of the new year?
Did I say anything like that? I was.
Yeah, but that bogus cough spoke volumes, Mr. Brooks.
Did anybody hear me say? I mean, it was just a cough. I mean, something got stuck in my air tube. That's
you didn't cough the whole show.
Tube.
He hasn't coughed the whole dang show. Now all of a sudden he coughs.
Oh my God.
I would say I'm offended, but I can't go there, B. I can't.
Look, I'm even drinking some water because I can.
Yeah, get your air tube, good to go.
Look, Crisco Duck said, I noticed the change.
Correct. She or he's correct. He or she's correct. So let me give you a little. Let's dig into the Niners here a little bit. All right. So they've won 12 straight, right? Their last loss was October 23rd. Their last loss was 8 days before Halloween. It's been a long time since they lost a football game, right?
Yeah.
So this year they've lost 4 times. They lost 3 times on the road. Now keep in mind these were early. This was this was like Trey Lance, Jimmy G, no McCaffrey. They lost at Chicago, at Denver, at Atlanta, and they lost at home to the Chiefs. They're their 4 losses. The Chiefs were the last loss that they had, October 23rd. So that's what they've done thus far. Purdy 7-0 as a starter. He's the 4th quarterback to be drafted in the 6th round or later to reach a conference championship game in his first season as a starter. They've allowed 19 points per game on the road. He's only played Purdy 2 games as a starter in general on the road and none out of the Pacific time zone. They allowed 44 points to the Chiefs, 30 points in the second half. So a really good Chief offense got him pretty good. And the Raiders later in the year, I think it was the second to last game of the regular season, it was a back and forth battle with that team that didn't even make the playoffs. Jarrett Stidham, who replaced Derek Carr, threw 365 against them and 3 touchdowns, and Vegas had 500 total net yards. I point all that out because their defense is unbelievable, but it's not impossible to get things going here against them.
I mean, all you had to do is just watch the game they just played against Dallas. Dallas was well within the range to win the game. If they had better quarterback play, more than likely they would have won the game. Dallas's defense put a halt on their offense. Dallas's offense could have scored a lot more on their defense. I don't know what Dak was thinking about, some of the plays that he ran. I didn't know what the play calling was. We have a legitimate play caller. We have legitimate play callers, number one, going against that defense. We got a legit offensive line going against that defense. That rookie was getting his ass kicked against Bosa. I don't know why they even put Bosa on the other side. Mm-hmm. Well, yeah, because he was whooping Tyler Smith. No, the other Smith. On the other side, also, he was whipping both of them. But you saw that you could run an offense against them very, very easily. It's not like they're just so good that you can't score on them. Okay, middle linebacker ran with CD Lamb. It was a go route. He just turned it and started running.
Right.
I get it, man. That's a great play. But I just can't see him being the same way with Kelsey tattooed and plastered all over him.
Mm-hmm.
You know what I'm saying? Kelsey's throwing 300-pound guys, let alone a linebacker. How many times he got up on linebackers and finished them also?
Yeah, there's two great examples in that game where he gets out and just kills guys.
Right. You know what I mean? So
Giants.
I have no fear against that offense. None.
How about defensively, though?
You have no fear against the 49ers offense? Is that what you're saying?
Defense or offense?
Defense. Wow. You don't fear the 49ers defense in any way, shape, or form?
No. I mean, you can't say no way, shape, or form. I'm saying that
I
don't fear. No, you saying it literally like, you don't have no fear against them. No, I mean, when I look at what we have in the Eagles, they don't put fear in me like, oh, they're you can't run on them or you can't pass. No,
I didn't say that.
No. And I didn't say I have no fear in their ability to do. I have more hype. I have more of a trust in what we can do.
Yes,
as opposed to them.
I'm not disputing that.
I don't fear them. I don't.
I'm not disputing that.
All right, let me say it. Like, I don't fear them, D-Gun. I don't fear them.
I'm not disputing anything you say about this Eagles.
All right,
team.
well, I'm gonna say it then. I don't fear them in any way.
Okay. All
Did
right.
you feel? Did you certainly fear them more than the Giants? Correct.
I didn't fear the Giants either.
No, that's not what he asked you. No,
but
first of all,
it's a better team than the Giants, right?
Yeah.
He's a better. That's a better team than the Giants.
Okay.
Mama Brooks, first of all, thank you for standing up for me. I appreciate you. Because your son, he gets off kilter every now and then.
What my mom say?
She said, Barrett, leave D-Gun alone, be nice. Which is true. And I'm glad you said that, Mama Brooks. I appreciate that.
Oh, don't do that.
She telling the truth. Yeah, she telling the truth. She telling the truth. But I will say this.
I don't.
This is the best collection of weapons that the Eagles will face. That's all I'm saying. And this is a team that can be just as explosive offensively as the Eagles can be.
I think this is a really good team. I think they're beatable.
I agree.
Yeah, I don't go into this saying, "Oh my God, this is David and Goliath." I'm not saying that.
No.
But I look at they have a nice collection here with McCaffrey and Mitchell and Debo and Ayuk and Kittle. It's a matter of, can that offensive line contain the Eagles' defensive line? Can they contain the most ferocious pass rusher?
Absolutely.
Is the environment, meaning the loudness, the pressure that he's going to be under, everything else that comes with it, can Purdy hold up? Like, that's the game for me. I think the Eagles offense will do enough against this 49ers defense. I'm not telling you they're going to light them up, but they'll do enough.
Exactly.
It comes down to the quarterback play for San Francisco.
That's all I'm saying. That dude McCaffrey is a Swiss Army knife. And everybody on this show has admitted that. He is a Swiss Army knife. The Eagles haven't seen somebody like him. Not even Alvin Kamara. Kamara wasn't Alvin Kamara this year. Okay, let's face it. They haven't faced anybody like this. You can put him in so many different positions.
Can I say something?
No, because you know what? I can't hear anybody who's blue right now. My eyes are watering. I can't hear him. I can't see him. I can't hear him. No, go ahead, man.
I'm gonna tell you this: the Eagles have faced a team that defense just as good as them.
The defense is just as good?
Yes.
Who?
Yes.
The Bengals.
The Saints defense.
Oh, the Saints.
The Saints defense is good. It might be even a little better. Their offense sucks so bad that they spend too much time on the field. The Saints defense is better. When you play player for player and you put it up against their defense, they're just as good. In fact, in some aspects, they're better. As far as the secondary, Marshawn Lattimore,
makes a big difference.
Tyrann Matthews is better than their defensive backs. Linebackers, it can go tip for tap. I mean, You look at Demario Davis is good. You know what I'm saying? Pete Werner is good. But they got two, great guys over there. So I'll give Fred Warner. He's a great linebacker.
I love Demario Davis. He ain't Fred Warner.
But then look at the defensive line. Yes, they got one guy. That's that one guy, right. Nick Bosa.
Right.
But they got Cameron Jordan. They got Grayson. And they got Marcus Davenport.
Yeah.
Their defense is just as good as the Saints. I mean, the Saints defense is just as good as the 49er defense. They spent too much time on the field. Their offense wasn't explosive enough to keep them off the field. They took more reps than the 49ers did, and that's why their numbers aren't, because their numbers are always comparable as far as the top defenses in the league every year. So they have seen a defense that is just as good as the defense they're about.
That's the tough thing.
That's
the tough thing about the comp with the Saints game, because Jalen didn't play. It's hard to know
exactly.
Right.
So you turn the ball over like they did, and you don't. You're not with your starting quarterback. Yeah, it didn't look good. It was probably the worst game. And
no starting lane,
which is huge too.
Right.
And I also just thought, really, for the first time, and maybe the only time I could say that, I felt like the intensity level wasn't what we're accustomed to, with them, all year. That's certainly not going to be the case on Sunday. But there were a lot of things going on in that game, that Saints game, that I don't think obviously you're going to have better personnel because you have your quarterback in lane. Did Gardner Johnson play in that game?
No,
he didn't play either.
No.
So you're going to have, better personnel for sure. And you're going to have a more dialed in team, clearly.
Exactly. I don't think was Avante playing in that game?
Avante didn't play in that game either. And we don't know if he's going to play in this game, though,
But I'm just saying that defense and the physicality that they played with, they've played against a team that's just as good as that, just as good as the 49er team that they're about to play. In fact, in more aspects, that 49er team is not as good as their defense, because in certain areas you can't tell. You gonna tell Hufanga is my guy. I love the way Hufanga plays, but he is not better than Tyrann Matthews or even Marcus May.
Right.
You know what I'm saying? He's good, but he's not on the level of those guys there. There's nobody on their secondary. Neither one of the Wards are better than Tyrann Matthews.
I'm really interested, if this is a game that Jalen gets loose with his wheels, it's going to be interesting to me. Like I said, if Bosa's getting heat, or they're getting heat generally or whatever, if he doesn't just take off and really gash them with his legs. I don't know. I mean, I think that he is still not 100% for sure. He's getting closer. With that shoulder. So he's maybe still a slightly hesitant, although we didn't see a ton of that. I mean, maybe slightly hesitant in the last game. But I think this is where you're just going to have to unleash everything.
I think this game is going to be way more physical than the Chiefs Bengals game. I think that game is going to be more of a gunfight at the OK Corral. You know what I'm saying? Teams up and down the field. I think this is going to be more of a strategist type game. And the Eagles defensively seem to jack up their play when opponents coming in and they hear all this talk about their physicality. And that's when the Eagles raise their physicality. We've heard them a couple times walk off the field, players talking about how, and you thought their defense was physical. What about ours? So they take that, as a challenge. So I expect the physicality to be jacked up more so than any other time in any game we've seen at this point. I'm looking forward to this one. It's like, who's going to deliver the first blow? Who delivers the first significant blow in this game? And I expect to see some extracurricular stuff. I expect to see a personal foul penalty, somebody getting hit laid out of bounds. I expect to see all that in this game.
Oh, yeah.
It's unavoidable in a game like this.
Look,
exactly.
You got a really good coach coming in here, and he's used those weapons very well. Shanahan has. There's no question about that. You got a really good defensive coordinator in D'Amico Ryans, who should be a head coach, if not this year, soon. This is a formidable task, man. They're taking on some, like a really, really quality team. And how about both of these quarterbacks are 24 and under?
Isn't that something?
Right.
24 and 23.
It's crazy.
It's unbelievable.
It is
and
crazy.
then the other two guys are 26 and 27.
I know.
It's
I know.
You know, but that's what the league wants. That's exactly what the league wants. I mean, you got to turn it over. The old guard has to turn it over.
Yeah.
You know, for the first time ever, we've seen a mere mortal Tom Brady. We've seen a mere mortal Aaron Rodgers. Those are no longer the headliners right now. The headliners are the four guys standing for various weeks. They're four young quarterbacks, all who have different styles of play. And those are the headliners in the NFL right now.
Let me ask you guys this, just fun little hypothetical. You can either take it as the four that are still standing or take it anybody. You got the first pick overall right now. Everybody's a free agent.
Right.
Of every quarterback that's in the league.
Every
you taking
quarterback
first?
in the league, okay.
I'm taking Burrow.
I want Mahomes.
Okay. Barrett?
I'm taking Mahomes.
I want Mahomes too.
I'm taking Mahomes. And here's why. I don't disagree with you, Rob. I think Burrow is technically sound, makes all the throws. He's got a strong arm. He can improvise. He can do everything you need in today's game, which he does well.
Right.
But this dude, Mahomes, is on another level. There are certain things about his overall makeup you cannot coach. It's just a gift from God that he's been given to do certain things with the football in his hand. You know, every game there's a wow factor with Mahomes.
Yeah.
You know, we think we know him inside and out. We've seen him do everything. No, you haven't, because he keeps coming up with stuff that you like. You know, you're not used to seeing this with a quarterback.
I agree. His ability to ad lib is we've never seen. Maybe like he's that kind of guy off schedule. Like he is that good. I'm just looking at what Burrow's building here. 5-1.
Yes.
3-0 on the road in the playoffs. It's pretty nuts. Like there's some good choices.
Well,
And
see,
yeah.
if you take Burrows, you take two of those wide receivers away, like they had two of their wide receivers.
Chase or I don't know,
either one of them.
Either one of them. Yeah.
If you just take Chase away,
yeah.
Do you think he's still as good?
Ooh, good point.
Yeah, I don't know. I would say this: would Mahomes have been as good in his third year if you took away Tyreek Hill? I don't know. That's a fair question.
But here's what we do:
take away both of them. Take away Tyreek Hill, and you take away Kelsey, and I still think that Patrick Mahomes could still go out there and generate offense with
and win 12, 13 games.
Great
I agree.
Yeah, it's a great point. It's a great point. I mean, what he's done, that's why, like, I know Eagles fans get ticked off at this. I don't. When people say Mahomes is the MVP, like, I can live with that. If considering what he's done without Joe Burrow, without
Tyreek Hill.
Tyreek Hill. The other thing I think that you also have to have, in fairness, and this goes to both of those guys and anybody else, you need good support system around you, not just players. Like for Patrick to have Andy Reid and this Zach Taylor, man, people sleep on this guy.
I agree.
Yes,
Burrow's got a really good coach there. You know?
Absolutely,
I agree. I said it before. In the regular season, Kansas City has 73 plays of 20 or more yards, but they lost a big strike in Tyreek Hill. They didn't have the 60, 70-yard plays like they were accustomed to having because they didn't have a Tyreek Hill. And yet they bring in okay receivers. They brought in Juju Smith-Schuster. They brought in Marcus Valdez-Scantling. And you put them in that system with that coaching staff, and all of a sudden they're more viable in those offenses than they've ever been in Pittsburgh or Green Bay.
Right.
You know, and then you got the magician. You got the dude who's like, he's like a one-man circus act. He's like Ringling Brothers, Barnum and Bailey circus by himself, you know, and you sit there, you take your kids and you can go to the circus every year for 10 years and you sit there going, wow, that's Patrick Mahomes.
Yeah.
You know, and that's why I said I take him more so than Burrow right now. I love Burrow. Don't get me wrong. I love him, but I got to take Mahomes. You put that question to me, I'm taking Mahomes right now.
I think it's a fun argument, man. It's probably the most fun argument there is.
Absolutely.
What's up,
and you notice how we didn't say Rodgers? He's out of the equation, but he's been the most prolific quarterback of the past 5 years.
Yeah.
I and I'll be honest, part of it is I'm just kind of exhausted by him, like of him.
The off the field antics.
It's just all of it. Like,
right.
Like, and we're gonna go through this whole circus of whether he's coming back or not. Like, come on, man.
Well, how much is this last game for Allen changed, or this year for Allen changed who you think he is?
I think it hurts him a little bit. Frankly, he turned the ball over a lot in big spots.
Was that a product? Is that a product of Dable being gone, or is it a product?
I was just gonna say that
him being just a guy right now. Because he's more than a guy. He's definitely more than a guy.
I agree. Losing somebody like Dable is a big, big deal, man.
Huge.
It is.
I think Dable was his eyes in crucial situation that kept him from doing certain things in crucial situation. He doesn't have that security blanket anymore. That's huge. Dable's absence is huge in terms of what he went through this year.
Yeah. Yeah. I mean, I think you look at how much Trevor Lawrence was better this year. Some of that is he's an unbelievably talented guy.
Oh, without a doubt.
But a lot of it is you got Doug Peterson in there and you got him out of that disaster that was the year before, and you need that. Some guys just get screwed. They end up in a place that's bad, that's dysfunctional, and they can never get out of that. And they form bad habits and they never recover, and then other guys, they're more fortunate. It's just some of it's luck of the draw.
So where is Mayfield going now?
I think he's a backup
starter.
Houston.
I think he's a backup now at this point.
So you don't see him as a starter at all now.
I mean,
I think
we're draft a guy, right?
Yeah, but you know what? He could be that buffer for Houston. He's better than what they have now, And teams, very few teams want to put a quarterback in there as a rookie and hit the ground running. They like to have that grace period to let him watch and observe, and get better.
That's the best thing Andy Reid ever did with both of his quarterbacks.
Yes,
with Mahomes and McNabb.
Let him sit a little bit. Yeah,
he sat Mac and let Mac look at Doug, and then he let Smith sit and play in front of Mahomes and learn from Smith.
Yes.
So
you look at a guy like Zach Wilson. I don't really like him to begin with as a player, but he was thrown right in there and showed you that he wasn't ready physically, mentally. He wasn't mature enough to handle it. All of it. He showed you every reason why this. First of all, he was overdrafted, but he was a classic example. He should have been just waiting behind guys, maybe a year or two.
I never liked him. Anyway.
Yeah, I know you didn't like him. Yeah,
I never liked him from the jump. But I mean, I look at Pittsburgh and their situation, and I think that they're kind of glad that they went on and did what they did, and played their rookie quarterback. I think he learned a lot from this season, and he turned it around. The second half of the season, he turned it around, got them over 500.
Yeah. But they did give him a minute. I mean, it was Trubisky a little bit. Like they gave him a minute to just sort of get his feet wet, which I thought was a smart way to go, for sure. But yeah, look, it's there's a lot of different ways you can look at it. And some guys like Burrow was ready to go right away. Just some guys are different. You can just plug them right in, and then they're off to the races.
I think if Mike Tomlin and that organization was really being honest, I believe they went into this season saying, we got a mess here in Pittsburgh quarterback wise, and Mike, you're just gonna have to suck it up and take your first losing season. Because at one point they were 4-8.
I think you're right.
They were 4-8, and I think it was just about, and all of a sudden, ball started bouncing away. This kid Pickett, while it was still raw, started making plays. And you're right, Rob.
With their receiver.
Yeah.
You know what? I wonder if they didn't say to him, like, "Hey, listen, you're safe. Like, we know this is going to be a tough one. You're okay. Like, don't sweat it." You know what I mean? I wonder if there's any of that, like, assurances before the season even started.
They had to. They had to, because that organization, that's just what they do, man. They don't treat people like most organizations. They probably went to Mike and was like, "Hey, Mike, we understand you're going to take your bumps and bruises.
Right.
We got our guy now. I know Big Ben screwed you for the past 2 years. We got a guy now. We got, we're gonna go full speed ahead with the rookie quarterback, and don't worry about it. If you take it in the chin, we understand.
Right.
We understand.
Yeah. Yeah, we'll never know, right? Behind closed doors, what goes on there. That's for sure. All right, so in a little bit, we're going to dig into the NFL stuff, but we will give you some numbers when we get back that are pretty remarkable from some of the games this past weekend. We'll take some questions from the chat section as well, so have those questions ready to fire away coming up in our next segment, guys. So we will dig into that, little Sixers, little Flyers as well. We'll get into all those kind of things. When we return, don't go anywhere. Derek Gunn, Barrett Brooks, Rob Ellis, Sports Take, JAKIB Sports YouTube Network. Let's talk Flynn Tree Services. Yes, Flynn Tree Services is an experienced, licensed, and insured Pennsylvania tree services company that will trim or remove any unwanted trees off of your property. They offer cost-effective solutions to any tree problem that you may face. They're just a quick phone call away, by the way. And they're experts at trimming all types of trees. They service southeastern Pennsylvania, South Jersey, northern Delaware as well. They specialize in full tree removal, stump grinding, as well as tree pruning, just taking those back a little bit, get some of those loose branches. Keep in mind, this is a good time of year to get your trees evaluated before the heavy winter stuff hits and some of those branches and trees may come down. Go to their Facebook or Instagram page for more information or a sampling of their work. Give Flynn Tree Services a call at 610-850-2848. 610-850-2848. You can also reach them online at flynntreeservices.com. That's flynntreeservices.com.
My name is Fran Salerno, and I'm Managing Director here at Del Valle Insurance Group. Been in the business for over 36 years, saving people money on their insurance needs. Give us a call. Let us help you custom design an insurance plan that meets both your needs and budget.
Since 1977, it's always been about you, the community, at Rafferty Subaru. And through the Subaru Love Promise, we prove we care by supporting charities like So Good Now.
So Good Now helps kids in under-resourced areas by connecting them with student athletes to serve as mentors. We remove barriers so athletes can help youth in the corners of our communities where light and love are needed most.
When you choose Rafferty Subaru, you help organizations like So Good Now.
It's all about you at Rafferty Subaru.
Go for the beers. Go for the cheers. Go for the hit and the hits. Go for the scene. Go for the screens. Go for the gallery. Go for the win. Go to Ocean.
We all know that taxes are just part of life. It's true during our working years, but also in retirement. But what you might not know is up to 85% of your Social Security benefits might be taxed. Our team at Thrive Financial has helped retire thousands of people across the Delaware Valley by asking questions they never knew they needed to ask, including how their Social Security benefits might be taxed. It's time to be proactive on taxes. Get your Thrive Retirement Tax Playbook today.
Post-game show with Seth Joyner,
I knew that they had a running game.
Derek Gunn,
He has put in the effort.
Devin Caney,
Had we not won the Super Bowl, what would we be saying?
and Mike Missinelli.
Well, you know who Philly is.
Post-game, now streaming on the 6ABC family of apps.
We're back. Yes, we are. We are Sports Take, JAKIB Sports YouTube Network. All right, so you want to hit us up with some questions, chat section. Let's fire away, man. Let's take some Eagles. Anything else you want to throw our way, we will take. We got the Sixers in action tomorrow night against the Nets. Ben Simmons coming back to town. Tonight, the Flyers take on the Kings. So that's kind of where things are. I thought this was interesting. The Phillies invited Mark Appel back on a non-guaranteed contract. So he'll, kind of battle it out, see if he can come out of the minors and end up being a part of that bullpen, which is a little bit more crowded, than it was necessarily last year with some of the moves they've made. So I thought that was interesting as well. Some numbers here, guys, which are amazing when you look at it. So the Niners and the Cowboys did a $45.7 million or 7 million rating. 45.7. It's the second most in the history of divisional play. 45.7. So we were wondering, how well that game would do with those two markets, man, and it crushed. We haven't seen any numbers yet on the Eagles. If we get them, we'll pass them along, but that's pretty big time numbers.
Imagine what the numbers are going to be like for the Eagles 49ers on Sunday. Matter of fact, for both games. I'm curious to see both games because, when you talk about San Francisco and Philadelphia, you're talking about two of the top 6 markets in America. When you're talking about Kansas City and Cincinnati, they're more like in the 20s.
Yeah.
In terms of when you just hone in on the fan base for those teams. I would say it's 49ers, Eagles I'm not going to say blow that other game away, but they should win that hands down in terms of viewership.
Yeah, no, there's no question about that.
I think it will blow it away. I think it will.
Oh, no, when you're talking about Mahomes against Burrow and the storyline that Burrow's beating them 3 times in a row, all by 3 points, it don't make a difference when Cincinnati plays them. They still beat Kansas City. Not many teams can say that. It's a great storyline, and everybody wants to see how Patrick Mahomes is doing on that bomb ankle. You know what I mean?
Yeah, you're right. You're right. Yeah, you're right.
And it's like a night game where if you had to stuff to do during the day, everybody's home. Eagles are at 3. Not that it's late, but still.
But still, it's a 6:30 game. Yeah, 6:30 game. Everybody can watch 6:30 game and still get up and go to work in the next morning.
Yeah. So, it's like the time of a Super Bowl.
That's a good question.
The NFL is undefeated, man. They monopolize their sport better than anybody. Even better than soccer.
Yeah.
They monopolize how they put their sport out there. I mean, they make sure it's all year around.
Yep, absolutely. All right, Jim G has a question. What player or players do you fear the most on the 49ers, Gunner?
I would say it'd have to be McCaffrey and Debo. I'm a big George Kittle fan. I think he's one of the top 3-4 tight ends in the game. But I think those 2 Swiss Army knives, how they move them around and get them in space, those are my two biggest concerns from that 49ers offense.
I go, offense. Okay.
Yeah. Did he mean team in general?
I think he just meant team. I would go Bosa and Warner if that was the case.
I don't know, B.
Man, that is tough. I would go Nick Bosa, and I would go Fred Warner also.
I don't know. It's a great question.
What? Let me take that back.
Yeah.
Let me take that back. I would actually go Warner and Samuels.
Warner and Samuels. Okay.
And Debo's due. As much as we talked about A.J. Brown being due to break out this week after a slow last week, Debo was pretty contained last week. Yeah. Debo's going to really be looking to get loose.
Not or not, Dallas played very well, bro.
Yeah, they did.
They played well from the aspect that, they should at least had more from Dak. If they had a little more from Dak, they'd have been all right.
I saw a really good question from Sweens earlier. I think it said, who would be a bigger threat to the Eagles in a Super Bowl, Kansas City with an injured Mahomes or Cincinnati?
It's hard to answer not knowing how bad Mahomes is.
Yeah.
I'd still go Mahomes. I just have more respect for Mahomes than I do Joe Burrows, and I respect that whole. I respect Joe Burrows. Immensely as a quarterback, as an architect of that offense. He's good with nothing on the offensive line.
Yeah,
you know what I'm saying, he's able to go out. He knew exactly what he needed to do, and ran where he needed to run to get the ball down the field. And he, evade the pass rush well enough to win that game. So I got to give him props, but Pat Mahomes is still a flinger, man.
Yeah.
At this point, he's just more proven to me.
Think about it. At the age of 25, that dude had already won the MVP, won a Super Bowl. That's unheard of. Seriously.
Yeah, it really is.
If there's anybody who's built for big moment, it's that dude, man.
Yeah. Yeah, no, I hear you. Hey, I want to throw this at you guys as well. Chris Sims just continues to double down here.
Who?
He said on his podcast on NBC Sports that he would take Mahomes Daniel Jones from a quarterback perspective, from a passer perspective, over Jalen Hurts. Like, to me, this is a classic example of it's okay to admit, you know what, I underestimated him. This dude's a lot better than I thought. Give him his props. Instead, you continue to double down. It's embarrassing. He's embarrassing himself at this point, this guy.
Does he say this stuff just to get clicks? And
I don't think I'll say this. I think most people that do those kind of things are doing it to get clicks and get attention. I think he is too stubborn and is too prideful to admit that he was wrong. I think that's the case with him on this.
You grew up in a house with a father who is a household name in the NFL. You played the position in college and pros for a while. So you've had unlimited access and insight and study to what makes a good quarterback and compared to an elite quarterback. And you still, even if you believe that within, that kills your credibility on a lot of levels. When you say something that mundane, that you go sit there and watch the performance that Jalen Hurts has displayed all season compared to Daniel Jones, and Daniel Jones under Dabo has been much better, but you're going to make that comparison and still stand there and say that you'd rather have Daniel Jones over Jalen Hurts?
Yep.
I can't listen to you anymore after that.
Yeah, you've lost. There is not that I had a lot of credibility for him, but it's gone if there was even an ounce.
Yes, I can't.
This guy played in the league as much as. You know, I know he wasn't his father or anywhere close, but the guy did play in the league. And for him to say something like that.
I don't know about you. I can't listen to him anymore, B. I don't care what he says. I can't listen to him. He can have great insight on something, and I'm still leery with anything that comes out of his mouth from this point on.
You know, you bite your nose to spite your face. You know what I'm saying? It doesn't make sense. You know, I mean, numbers don't lie. And when I say numbers, not just the passing numbers and all that stuff, but I'm talking about the win total.
Right.
I mean, you can't, say anything about that. You know, he can't literally be a great analyst and say something like that. Daniel Jones is not a better. Daniel Jones didn't start passing the ball until the last 4 games. And in those 4 games, he went, what? 1-2, 1-2-1.
Yeah, he had a really good game against the Vikings defense that should have never been.
That's the only game he had a good game passing the ball.
Right.
The only one. And you're gonna say that's how you're gonna dictate that you can throw the ball? He just threw an interception his last game, and you're gonna say that Jalen Hurts is not better than Jones?
Yeah.
That makes no sense to me. In fact, I can't get down with his analysis.
Mm-hmm.
You know, so I mean, I can understand there was some truth behind it. Like, you know, somebody could say, "Oh, you know what you're talking about, Barrett? The Saints defense, because the numbers don't dictate that."
Right.
I can understand how you can say that, but the numbers are skewed because the offense was never on the field. It was always the defense on the field. So, I mean, I can understand that, but then you sit down, do your research, and look at the players and look how they played. Watch film, look at the eye test. You'll see what I'm talking about. You sit down and watch the eye test on Jalen Hurts and how he throws the ball, his deep balls, intermediate, short balls, and you cannot make an accurate statement saying that Daniel Jones is a better passer. I mean, the eye test doesn't lie. You know what I'm saying? The eye test will see exactly what I'm saying. You know what I mean? Yeah. You'll see it. It'll be there in concrete. At what aspect is his arm better than Jalen's?
None. None. No.
Where?
None. There isn't any. Yeah, I don't really know what else to say at this point with that.
Right. I mean, I can see if, give me an eye test. Numbers may all right. Don't go by the numbers. You know what I'm saying? We go because the numbers are far superior.
Yeah.
But don't buy the numbers. Let's just go by the eye test. Let's watch film.
Yeah. Unfortunately, there's not enough eye test that goes on. It's too much buried in a stat sheet. But if you're buried in a stat sheet, Hurts is better. Hurts is a better runner and thrower.
Right.
He's just a better complete football player. I thought this was interesting. Again, keep firing those questions away if you got anything for us.
Some good questions in here.
Yeah. So Kelsey and Lane Johnson have now gone 3,487 snaps without allowing a sack, dating back to the 01 season. That's pretty crazy. You know, that neither one of those guys have given up a sack in 3,487 snaps.
It doesn't sound real.
3,487 snaps.
You could fall and trip and give up a sack.
Jeez, man.
That doesn't sound real.
It's incredible. It really is.
Not bad for a so-called undersized center, huh?
Undersized center, yeah. Guy who was a quarterback when he got to Oklahoma. You know, the other guy.
Tight end, then went to tackle.
Yeah, it's crazy. It's crazy. But yeah, pretty amazing.
I don't understand that, man. Like that's hard for me to comprehend. He's that good. I mean, even Trent Williams gave up a sack this year.
Right.
I saw him give up 2 sacks in one game.
Yeah, the greats even get beat sometimes.
Right.
This is, but you know, I mean, look, obviously, with Bosa, this is going to be the biggest test for the D line. I think from a one player standpoint, from an individual standpoint, this is going to be the biggest test for them.
Wow.
This dude, man.
What's the matter?
John Dickerson, man. Come on, man. Dude, come on, man. We talking football, John. Get off me. My D-Gun has gone 34.
It's longer than that. John, that streak is way longer than that.
Come on, man.
Yeah.
Come on, man.
We got to be in the 5. We're at least in the 5,000 days.
Who was the last coworker that had my ribs?
I had ribs.
Marshall.
I had to say Barrett.
2 years ago.
I had to say 2 years ago?
Yeah.
Hey, you can blame COVID for that, dude.
No, you're right. No, it was actually 3.5 years ago.
Okay, Chris has a good question. If we make it to the Super Bowl, who's going to Arizona? D Gunner, if you're staying home, will you have a pregame barbecue party on the new deck Saturday? What will you throw on the grill? All right.
Man, she remembers her memory is impeccable.
Chris is good. Chris is on it.
To answer the question, unfortunately, I won't even get to watch the Super Bowl game at home if the Eagles go. I will be at Ocean Casino in Atlantic City doing pre- and post-game shows. Therefore, my family, huh?
That was confirmed.
What?
That you guys will be here.
Yeah.
So
I won't get to enjoy the festivities with my family. Now, what I might do is I might do some ribs for my family on that Saturday because I love ribs. Yeah, I love ribs better the day after because you let that smoke bake in. Once you grill them and then you wrap them up and put them in the fridge and let that cold air bake that smoke in the ribs. It tastes better the next day. So my family will get to enjoy the fruits of my labor. I might have to take me a baggie. The only problem is when you do smoked ribs, you can't put them in your car. You can't take them with you because you end up smelling like it the rest of the day.
It's also not something you could throw down before you go on the air because you're
heck no.
mess.
Well, not only that, but you smell like the smoke. It gets in your clothing. You can't get it out.
Yes.
You know, so I wouldn't do that to my coworkers. They'd be sitting there like, D-Gun, I'm hungry, man. Why you do this? I wouldn't do that to them. So.
Dank has a question. What's the biggest mismatch for both teams?
All
right, Barrett.
Wow.
Let's say what are the what's the Eagles in their favor? What's the biggest mismatch that they have going for them in their favor on a positive?
In their favor?
Yes, positive side.
Their ability to run the ball regardless of what you put out on the field.
Okay.
They'll be able to run the ball whenever they want to. That's an ace that they have in their pocket that they can always pull out. They can run the ball on whoever. What you put out there, they can run the rock on it. Because you can't leave those receivers out there and that tight end out there all alone. You mean you gotta have somebody to bracket AJ. They've always got to have somebody bracket because they have the big play potential is always there with those two sitting out there with both Smith and Brown out there. The big play potential is too big to just go all out on stop and run. You just can't do it. You saw what happened against the Giants where they put everybody in the box. All they did was just flip it to Kenneth Gainwell, and he goes down and gets like 6 yards. So it's hard to stop an offense that have all that versatility, in them. The worst thing you can do, the most demeaning thing you can do to a defense is run the ball on them. And there's no way you could stop the Eagles from running the football if they don't want to stop.
Okay.
Because you just can't you can't put that many resources in stopping a run. They're too good on the outside.
What scares you? Would it be Bosa on Mailata? With that matchup, I know they'll move Bosa around a little bit, but
more so Bosa on Lane.
Lane banged
with him
up.
being hurt. Yeah, with him being banged up. That's somewhere that I'm gonna watch, because they're gonna still, even with him hurt, they're still gonna leave him mano a mano. He's still gonna be man to man against him. They don't send protection to their tackles, so he's gonna have to step up. And Nick has got speed to power. Like he's lived his life to be a pass rusher. He's done everything in life geared towards being that pass rusher. So he's good, man. Speed the bull. He has power. He has pass rush moves. He has great get off. But you look at Lane. Lane has great speed and agility. He can jump set you. He's strong enough to the bow his back and sit down on the bull rush. He can move. He can counteract your counter. I mean, that's what makes him a great player. So that, to me, I think that'll be more so because of his injury. If he was healthy, I wouldn't even blink an eye. I wouldn't even lose any sleep over it.
Yeah, I think I just like the Eagles' defensive line. I know San Francisco's got Trent Williams, who's an all-timer. I know it, but the rest of those guys, are they going to be able to handle
him? That's just him, though.
Yeah, are they going to be able to hold up against that the interior and the edge guys for the Eagles?
Yeah, I would have said the Eagles pass rush against their offensive line.
Mm-hmm.
Barrett's favorite right tackle, McGlinchey, he's going to be in for a long day. he's going to be in for a long day.
That dude's taking a beating, man, from Barrett McGlinchey.
That's not even me. It's not, I'm not the only person. They got people in the organization that say the same thing. You look at players that play for them. I mean, players that play for 49ers. If you go back and watch and listen to what they've said on Twitter of former players, what is McGlinchey doing out there? What is he doing? They kill him every day.
I hear you. For Marcus, our coach Marcus, matchup I'm most scared of: McCaffrey versus Kaiser White. Need Nakobe Dean to get snaps. Need his quickness in there. The only thing I would say is I get where coach is coming from. It's a tough thing to throw Nakobe Dean into this game. Just drop him into this. That might be a tough thing where he really hasn't gotten quality minutes other than special teams all year. That's the only thing I would say. I mean, I get it from a speed perspective. It makes sense. But Kaiser White on McCaffrey is a little worrisome out of the backfield.
See, here's the thing with Christian McCaffrey. Trying to match him up, and we keep talking about who could possibly match up against him. But even in that passing game, he does a lot of his damage coming out of a running back position, not necessarily out of a slot.
Yep.
So you don't know which way he's going. So I don't know if you're going to zone scheme him or what, but you can't just dedicate one guy to watch him when you have so many other entities to worry about.
Defensively, you just can't do it, and that's what makes him so good.
Yeah.
But you do have players that can handle him.
Yes. But I don't want to see TJ Edwards on, that's for sure. I do not want to see TJ Edwards on.
Get off my boy, man. TJ will be all right, man.
Look here, let me tell you something. TJ is a smart player. Whatever money he makes after this season, he has earned it for his performance this year. But if there's one kryptonite in his game, it's pass coverage. I don't want to see him on Kittle, and I sure don't want to see him trying to cover McCaffrey, because that ain't happening.
Yeah.
I do not want to see that happen. No.
Yeah, I hear you.
Well, look, Coach also makes a good point. Purdy's going to be getting rid of the ball quick.
Sure
yes, he will.
No
yeah,
doubt.
he will.
But you get it out too quick, and that's where you got to play up tight. You got to play and take away that first read.
Yeah,
press read. Because if you take away that first read and he has a hold a little bit, that's when that defensive line can get there.
I think one of the things that impresses me the most about Purdy, and I've seen this in 4 games from him, he will hold that ball to the last second. He'll see a guy coming free straight at him, and then he'll throw it at the last minute and complete more times than not. He is not afraid to take a hit like some quarterbacks are. They'll duck, they'll chuck and duck.
Mm-hmm.
Not this dude. This dude was standing there and take that hit. Now,
he has shown that. I'll give him that. Yeah.
Yes, and I'm like, man, this dude, this kid. Now he's still a kid, but still a rookie. But this kid, man, it's like he don't care. He's just out there balling. He goes, like, I'm just happy to be playing.
Right,
He's just out there balling.
Who would you guys utilize on Kittle?
Kazir,
wow.
CJ, GJ.
Yeah, but what if you have CJ on the Ayuk who plays the slot? Who you gonna put on Kittle? I think CJ needs to be on Ayuk, to be honest.
He's a wide receiver. He's the wide guy. He plays.
He lies in that slot a lot too. He'll come down in that slot.
See, and that's Shanahan though. Shanahan puts his guys everywhere. You might have Kittle in the slot. You might have Kittle wide. You might have Christian McCaffrey wide. You know, that's just how they call their defense. So all those guys really got to be ready. So
that's a tough one.
It's tough, but we have the athletes to do it.
Yeah, I agree. But I'm just saying it's a good question.
It's a great question. Flip the script. Think about it from their perspective. They're saying, all right, who handles Brown? Who handles Devontae Smith? Who handles Goddard?
Exactly.
You know,
exactly.
You know, there's
Miles
a lot
Sanders.
Miles Sanders. There's a lot to there's so much to deal with this Eagles offense. Are you spying Jalen Hurts? Is that going to tie somebody up? Like what? How are you going to approach that? As much as we're going through the matchups here with the Niners, there's more trouble with the Eagles offense.
Absolutely.
They're saying the same thing. Like, all right, what are we going to do?
Yes.
All right, they've got 11 personnel in there. One running back, one tight end.
Mm-hmm.
They got 3 receivers out there. What are we going to do? How are we going to defend this? All right,
Exactly.
they go no back. They put Miles Sanders out there in the line. The offensive line. That means we got to have 5 in a box because we got to go cover people. Now they run a simple inside zone play with the quarterback. How are you going to stop that?
Mm-hmm.
How do you stop that? That's a guaranteed 8 yards. Guaranteed. Running a rock on them, easy. Because you got 5 people, 6 people in the box. Let the in-man line of scrimmage go. Run outside zone, inside zone. You can do whatever you want to do.
Yeah.
With that.
Yeah. It's going to be – these are the chess matches, man, that are just fascinating. They really
Let me ask you guys this real quick because I wasn't on the show yesterday, and it's something that people text me and ask me a lot, and I have no answers for. What the heck is Quez Watkins?
Well,
where he needs to be. Where he needs to be.
Where's Quez Watkins?
Where he needs to be.
That dude was a no-show Sunday, man.
But
Because
think
it was
about
sitting next to coach. Let him stay over there next to coach.
If you're going to run as much as the Eagles ran, you want Pascal in there blocking, not Quez Watkins in there blocking.
I get that, but you know that deep shot, that deep shot that Jalen took to and overthrew AJ. That's Quez's play right there. That's his play. What the heck is Quez? Where's Quez been the last few games for that matter?
You also got to earn your playing time, and
right?
He hadn't earned anything.
Right. Say it again. Say it again.
He hasn't earned his time.
It means you get an opportunity to go out there and play. You got to take full advantage of the opportunity. Did he take full advantage of it?
Nope.
He didn't.
Absolutely not. Absolutely not.
You can't go out there and you can't be a vice. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
Can't be a liability.
That's it.
Yeah.
That's it.
You can have all the speed in the world, but if you don't have the attributes to go with it, what good is that speed?
Amen. All right, let's come back. Let's do an NFL segment. Bill O'Brien has a new home. We'll tell you where. Interviews galore out there. An update on Josh Allen, on Patrick Mahomes, on Tony Pollard, Tom Brady, Aaron Rodgers, Mike Kafka getting another interview. We'll talk about all of it when we come back. Don't go anywhere. Barrett Brooks, Derek Gunn. I'm Rob Ellis. We're Sports Take, JAKIB Sports YouTube Network. All right, I want to tell you about cybersecurity and Razor technology because protecting data is a security imperative for businesses of all sizes. Choose a partner like Razor Technology with expertise in the latest threats and proactive tools to lock down every endpoint with a zero trust approach that makes certain only authorized users gain access to your systems. Razor Technology delivers enterprise-wide insight into every component of a security plan across identity, devices, information, apps, and infrastructure, and threat-prioritized recommendations. They design, deploy, manage, and monitor security solutions that enable modern business to safely communicate, collaborate, and thrive in the modern marketplace, whether they're working in person or remotely, on internal infrastructure or in the cloud, and in every possible hybrid arrangement. Choose Razor Technology to protect your digital assets, establish an organization-wide security posture, enforce safe practices for identity and access management, and secure hybrid remote workforces. Call Razor Technology today at 866-797-3282, 866-797-3282, or visit them online at razor-tech.com. That's razor-tech.com.
My name is Fran Salerno, and I'm managing director here at Del Valle Insurance Group. Been in the business for over 36 years, saving people money on their insurance needs. Give us a call. Let us help you custom design an insurance plan that meets both your needs and budget.
Since 1977, it's always been about you, the community, at Rafferty Subaru. And through the Subaru Love Promise, we prove we care by supporting charities like So Good Now.
So Good Now helps kids in under-resourced areas by connecting them with student athletes to serve as mentors. We remove barriers so athletes can help youth in the corners of our communities where light and love are needed most.
When you choose Rafferty Subaru, you help organizations like So Good Now.
It's all about you at Rafferty Subaru.
Go for the beers. Go for the cheers. Go for the hit and the hits. Go for the scene. Go for the screens. Go for the gallery. Go for the win. Go to Ocean.
We all know that taxes are just part of life. It's true during our working years, but also in retirement. But what you might not know is up to 85% of your Social Security benefits might be taxed. Our team at Thrive Financial has helped retire thousands of people across the Delaware Valley by asking questions they never knew they needed to ask, including how their Social Security benefits might be taxed. It's time to be proactive on taxes. Get your Thrive Retirement Tax Playbook today.
Game Show with Seth Joyner.
I knew that they had a running game.
Derek Gunn.
He has put in the effort.
Devin Caney.
Had we not won the Super Bowl, what would we be saying?
And Mike Missinelli.
Well, you know who Philly is.
Post game, now streaming on the 6ABC family of apps.
Back, hour number 3 of the program. Thanks for hanging out with us. Tell a friend. Sports Tape, JAKIB Sports YouTube Network. Yes, we are here each and every day, Monday through Friday Eastern. You can go back and check out any segment that we do, any interviews that we do. Just go to jakibsports.com or JAKIB Sports YouTube channel. All right, let's hit a couple NFL things, guys. First, Andy Reid. So this will be his 10th championship game, conference championship game this Sunday against the Bengals. 5 with the Eagles, now 5 with the Chiefs in 24 seasons. That's 41.7% of the time that he's been a head coach, he's been in a championship game. Remarkable.
Unbelievable.
Lock Hall of Famer. Right?
No question. Yeah. And we grew tired of him. We grew tired of him when he was here towards the end. Ain't that about nothing?
Well, even Andy admitted it was time for him to go. He admitted it. I'll give him credit for that. He said maybe it got stale here.
Mm-hmm.
His last season was 4-12. But to be a guy his age, 67, 68, whatever it is, 66, to still be able to relate to young players. You see him in the locker room, he's joking with players,
Mm-hmm.
And Andy Reid, I mean, Barrett knows this, but Andy Reid can be a hard you-know-what when he wants to be a player. But the fact that he has that kind of respect that he gets from players says a lot about how, we always talk about older coaches being able to relate to today's player. He has withstood the test of time every year he's been in the league because his credentials have shown that,
Mm-hmm.
It's easy to tune out a coach after a while, and it will show in the product a lot of times, but not with this dude. The numbers you just said, Rob, that's unbelievable.
Yeah.
Very few coaches ever achieve that kind of status. I mean, that's just phenomenal. I mean, he goes to Kansas City, hits the ground running, and wins right away.
Mm-hmm.
New coach comes in. Oh, it takes a year or 2 or 3 to build it with the way we want to build. Not with this dude.
Yeah,
he turned that around real quick in Kansas.
He did. And look, I think it's fair to say it was best for both parties to move on, and that's okay. It had kind of run its course here. The Eagles moved on. They won a Super Bowl, well, how many years later was it after Chip? It was probably 5 years later they won a Super
Right.
Bowl, whatever it was.
Yep.
Andy went out there, crushed it, won a Super Bowl too. It's good. Like, it's all good. It worked out well for really both parties, I think.
Absolutely. And I don't want to get away from the football talk, but real quick, because they've been asking a bunch of questions. I can't remember who it was. Brisket. I occasionally do brisket, but I don't have 15 hours a day to do it the way I want to do it more. Number two, I've never smoked a whole pig. Somebody just asked me if I ever smoked a whole pig. No, I have not. I've had smoked pig, roasted pig, never did it myself. So that's an all-day process that I just don't have time to do. So I'm sorry. Let's get back to football. Sorry about that.
Okay.
I had to get that out, man. Too many questions about
I got you.
smoking.
Fair enough. Fair enough. Bill O'Brien back with the Patriots. He was a coach there for 5 years, worked his way up to offensive coordinator, then got the gig at Penn State, if you remember. And from Penn State, he wheeled that into the Texans job. In the last couple of years, he's been at Alabama as the offensive coordinator, but he goes back to New England. I actually think this is a great move for them. He goes back to work with Mac Jones, who he had a little time with at Alabama, but he's a guy who had a lot of success with Belichick, and they had to change things up. It couldn't be the Matt Patricia, Joe Judge thing any longer.
That doesn't even sound right, man.
I know it doesn't sound right. And if you want to salvage Mac Jones, you better fix this thing quick, or else he's going to go, like into oblivion, I think.
Right, and they were wrong for doing that, man. And he knows he was wrong for doing that. I mean, come on now, Belichick. How you going to two guys system, number one, is hard enough as it is.
Right.
Usually you have a passing coordinator, you have a run coordinator. I mean, a passing. Well, I don't know if you call them coordinators, but it's like you can have co-coordinators.
Right.
Just like, even here, you got Shane Steichens, the offensive coordinator, but then you also have a run coordinator in the offensive line coach. So he gives them the runs, and that's usually how you do it. But you got two knuckleheads. One of them's a defensive coordinator, and the other one's a special teams coach, trying to get this young guy plays and teach them. And come on, you can't do that, man. They were wrong for doing that to him.
Yeah,
wrong. That's why.
And a rare admission by Belichick that I screwed this up.
Right. So yeah, I'm glad they did do that. That just wasn't fair for that kid to get put in that position, and he knows he's wrong for that. He knows he's damn well wrong for that.
Absolutely. And those two had a little bit of experience together, right, at Alabama. Their paths crossed.
Right.
Mac Jones was on his way out, but before he was on his way out, O'Brien went there, and Mac Jones basically helped him grasp the Alabama offense. And so I think, as I said in the pre-show meeting, I think O'Brien will go to New England and make Mac Jones a much better quarterback. His rookie season was phenomenal. He set the record for rookie consecutive passes by a rookie quarterback in the NFL. Mm-hmm. I think under O'Brien's tutelage, Mac Jones will be a much better, much more efficient quarterback than he was this past season. His head had to be swimming. You made a defensive coach one of your offensive strategists? Really?
Yeah.
On,
there's an arrogance there that I can plug anybody in. That's
right.
That's
the big thing right there.
Come on, man. You can't do that.
Seriously.
You can't. But at least, hey, like you said, Belichick came out and admitted he screwed it up. So,
yeah.
Okay. Lesson well learned.
According to Andy Reid, Mahomes is doing okay. They're going to have to see. He was asked specifically, will he have to practice this week? And he said, no, not necessarily. He hasn't done that. We haven't seen him do that yet. Like he's every time he's been a little bit banged up, he's been able to practice at least a little bit. But they're gonna cross that bridge when they come to it. I think it's, man, if they could even somehow get him on the field, it's going to be Mahomes' game.
To me, Mahomes doesn't practice this week.
I wouldn't mess with him.
I am not taking a chance on him stepping one way or the other. Him stepping on somebody's foot in practice and rolling that thing. Nope.
Yeah.
You know what, Patrick? Go on the sideline over there and throw to go throw to that net. That's all you got to do. Go throw to the moving net. That's all you got to do the whole week.
I wouldn't even do that. I'd give him a golf cart. Sit down on this golf cart. You're not gonna lose being in shape from that. So much 1 week. Go sit down on that golf cart over there. Chill out a little bit. Rest your legs. Take your shoes off. You know what I'm saying? Y'all come back now, yeah?
Well, I'll tell you this. The Vegas folks
I like that one.
Beverly Hillbillies.
I'm not convinced that the Vegas folks believe that Mahomes is going to play in this game or be anywhere near 100%. So the Chiefs at home are 2.5-point underdogs to the Bengals.
Ooh. Well, that's what you explained it to me. You were saying that you don't believe that that Vegas believes in it.
Right. I don't.
I think Mahomes will get out on the field and play as long as he can. And if he can't go, he's going to fight it tooth and nail as he did this past Sunday to get back in there. But the fact that what's his name led him on a 98-yard drive for a touchdown. 37-year-old. Who's the backup for Kansas City again?
It's Chad Henne.
Chad Henne. Now, Chad Henne ain't Patrick Mahomes, but the dude in the
He did a
playoff
nice
game
job.
walked down the field 98 yards and put it in the end zone. Okay. You got to roll with it. If you got to go with him at some point in the game, you're gonna have to roll with it. But I have to tell you what, Mahomes.
He's won playoff games before.
Yeah, he has. Mahomes is under center when that game starts.
Yeah, I would agree with it. Unless it just gets to the point where he can't even move this week. I mean, I don't know. The thing is, we're not going to know. Like, they're never going to let on exactly what's happening here. That much, you could be assured of that.
You know what Andy Reid's going to tell you? Squat.
Exactly. Yeah, exactly.
He ain't telling you squat.
The Eagles are.
Can I have a ham sandwich?
Yeah, the Eagles are 2.5-point favorites, and so are the Bengals as of right now. It's only Tuesday. We got a long way to go. We'll see how it plays out. Josh Allen will not get surgery on the elbow. There was some concern he might have to get Tommy John, or at least some kind of elbow procedure. Yeah, he says that he's been assured by the doctors, rest, and essentially just let the thing heal. He said it was really bad early when he heard it. He said it wasn't as bad the last couple of weeks, but he did have to change some mechanics. But he needs to shut it down now for a while and let it heal up. So maybe that explains a little bit of the turnover, uptick for him this year, maybe a little bit.
He was throwing turnovers before he heard it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I mean, one game. What was the game he lost? He threw 2 red zone picks. Forgot which game it was. Was it Minnesota?
Yeah, he had some bad ones.
Yeah, I think it's more so what we said earlier in the show. I think the absence of Daboll really affected his game this year.
Yeah,
in a lot of ways.
Yeah, that's fair. That's fair. And we're going to see how he responds next year. That's for sure. All right. So beyond that, Stephon Diggs makes no apologies for how emotional he got after the game. He had to. So he was seen yelling at Josh Allen on the bench and tried to exit the team locker room before McDermott even spoke. And then somebody had to talk him into coming back in, but he makes no apologies for it.
I don't have a problem with it, to be honest. I understand you have to be a good sport whether you win or lose. But this was the 3rd year in a row Buffalo failed to get to Super Bowl.
Yeah.
Frustrations mount. I get it. It's not like he took it out on anybody. He didn't publicly dime out anybody like we've seen some people do this season.
Right.
Basically, he didn't want to talk to the media, didn't want to talk to anybody, wanted to just console himself. And luckily, one of his teammates, who was a backup running back, I forgot who it was, talked him into going back into the locker room. But he didn't stay long, But I don't have a problem with him being emotional. The competitive juice is taking over. He didn't make himself look bad. He did not make the organization look bad. It was just one of those situations, So
yeah,
I have no problem with.
I think it's some of it is this is just the stuff you got to deal with sometimes. I mean, they're competitive guys, and it's
prima donnas.
Yeah, especially that position. You just deal with it. You just deal with it. I mean, I let me put it this way. I don't think that he and Josh Allen are going to have an issue going forward. And I think they'll be fine. I think they both know how much the other one means to them, in terms of success and getting each other paid and winning. So I think they'll be good.
I've stood in front of so many athletes after bad moments, and you thrust a microphone in their faces, and you ask the questions you're going to ask, and all you get is, yeah, no. They don't want to be there. It's understandable,
I'm just here so I don't get fined.
Yeah, there you go.
Yes, exactly.
There you go. That's why I'm here.
Beyond that, the Giants, this is kind of in the no duh category, but it depends how much it's going to cost. They want Daniel Jones back. Now, They didn't pick up his 5th-year option, so he's a free agent. What's he going to get? What do you think he gets per year?
30.
A little more than that, probably around 35,
Think so?
36. Yeah.
I can't put him in. I can't put him in upper echelon class.
What do you think Jalen's gonna get? I think Jalen's gonna get upwards of about 40, 41.
Oh, that's easy. Oh, that's easy. Yeah. He might get close to that if they put the franchise tag on him.
I think I think he gets in the high 20s, low 30s.
What do you give Jalen if dummies in Arizona gave Kyler Murray that
I'm saying Jones. I don't mean
Jones. Okay.
Yeah, Jalen's got to be knocking on the door of 40, right? He's got to.
Oh, easily. After Kyler Murray got? Are you kidding me? He better be, or he should fire his agent.
Especially if they get to the Super Bowl.
What?
Yeah. He's going to get every bit of 40. Every bit of 40. Not knocking at the door.
Yeah.
But he's opening the door at 40. They're not even starting talks until it's 40.
Man.
What is it? Patrick Mahomes got, 505 for 10 years?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, you talk about a 24-year-old who will, perfect for him if he would win a Super Bowl on top of it and had a borderline MVP year. That's.
I know one thing. He better get it guaranteed, all guaranteed. I want all my money guaranteed.
Well, you better get a new agent.
Why is that?
No, I'm saying if he doesn't.
Oh, yeah.
If he doesn't get upward of 40, if he doesn't get the bulk of that money guaranteed, he better get a new agent.
No, not the bulk, all of it guaranteed. There's only been 2 contracts like
the whole
that,
contract?
that much money.
Watson and Cousins, right?
Yep, Watson and Cousins. Both of those guys got their contracts guaranteed. What's stopping him from doing it?
I think Howie, from a business perspective, will leave himself just a little wiggle room down the road if he had to. That's how I think Howie thinks. That's how I think his money mechanism works.
His inner sliminess.
I didn't say. Oh no! I didn't say that. Now, no,
that's what you have to do.
I didn't say that. But from a business perspective, if I'm sitting on the management side, I need to get an advantage somewhere. If I'm sitting on the player side, I need to get an advantage somewhere. You got to serve and volley. All right. If I give you this, you got to give me this. And I think Howie's smart enough when it comes.
I'll take less money. I'll take less money if it was all guaranteed.
Mm.
I'll take less money if it's all guaranteed because there's no way Patrick Mahomes sees $505.
Yeah, you're right. You're right about that.
$1 million. He's not gonna see that. Yeah. So I'll take a small contract, guaranteed, money guaranteed. I'm not. I mean, I've seen 2 guaranteed contracts. I gotta have mine guaranteed also. And I ain't saying I'm not. And let me say this: I'm not saying Howie is slimy because Howie, for the most part, if he says he's gonna do something, he does it. Like he brought guys in on 1-year deals, and like it or not, he signed those guys. Alshon Jeffries, Timmy Jernigan. You know what I'm saying? If you come in and you produce and you make things happen, he does not have a problem with signing you back to another contract.
No,
and you're right about that.
He doesn't have a problem with it.
And he's not locked into the "you're 30 years old, get out of here" thing. Either.
Exactly. If you producing, he will sign you back. And that's one thing I respect about Howie, man. Yep. He generally, like during cut times, he's one of the few guys that generally hates the cut guys.
Yeah,
he generally hates that. He doesn't like that at all, man. And I look up to that, man. I say, yeah, that's a stand-up dude, man. He understands you got to go with the business of playing, being in a corporation where that has to happen. But he doesn't enjoy it, man. I've seen far too many coaches enjoy it.
Yeah,
far too many enjoy it.
I got you. All right, let me give you this, guys. The Super Bowl. We know it's in a few weeks in Arizona. Hopefully, the Eagles will be playing in it. Chris Stapleton will be performing pregame.
Who's that?
The country singer.
Okay.
And Babyface will perform "America the Beautiful."
Okay.
That much we know. We know Rihanna's doing halftime, and it's going to be produced by Jay-Z.
Wow.
By his
Rock Nation.
His production. Rock Nation's producing it. Cheryl Lee Ralph, she won an Emmy for Abbott Elementary. She's going to perform "Lift Every Voice and Sing." She is going to perform. Oscar winner Troy Kotsur will perform the national anthem in American Sign Language. Wow, that's pretty cool. He becomes the second deaf actor to win an Academy Award. Oh, okay. He won an Academy Award for Coda, but he will sign the America the Beautiful. That's pretty cool. That is pretty cool. There's going to be U.S. Navy flyover, which will go down. Yeah, and Jay-Z's Rock Nation is the company executive producing Rihanna's show. Jesse Collins is the I don't know Jesse Collins. He's the executive producer. So yeah, that's the crew that will be handling the Super Bowl.
Again,
Guys,
nobody puts on a better show than the NFL.
They do.
Yep.
Game, pregame, halftime, postgame. Nobody puts on a better show.
Mm-hmm.
You know, that's why I'm saying. Yeah, go ahead.
I'm saying you're right about that. So I don't know how they do it, man. They just make things happen, bro. Because I know. There's no way. If I was asked to do that, then I wouldn't do it.
Oh, first of all, it's such a career boost. Do you know how many eyeballs are on that? And it's not like you have to go out there. You're out there for 15 minutes. You do a medley of songs. You promote whatever you have. Like Rihanna's got a new album coming out.
Yep.
Like it's going to shoot that. Not that it wasn't going to do well anyway, but it's going to put it in a different stratosphere. It's just brilliant. It's brilliant marketing.
Think about this. Rihanna's basically been out of the limelight for like what, 5-6 years.
Yeah, that's her makeup.
Yeah, and the NFL lures her out. Out of all entities that you could think of, the NFL is the one that lures her out. You know, what does that tell you about the power and the financial power behind the NFL to be able to do that?
Yeah.
And they've already set the bar with their halftime shows. Look at the wide range of talent they have used, from country to R&B, hip hop, rappers. You know, they run the gamut, dude. They don't just go one way. They go every direction you can think of to appeal to everybody. You know, that show they put on last year, that's gonna be a hard show to beat for years to come.
Bruh, yeah, 50 Cent said, I'm definitely on it. He went in and Debo'd his way in and said, I'm gonna be upside down working out.
Oh yeah, remember that? Yeah.
Dude.
It was interesting.
You get 50 Cent, Eminem, you know.
Well, that's the thing. You know, there'd be like at least 3-4 different people that come out with Rihanna. It's not just going to be her. It's always like that.
I know, but still, the fact that the NFL was the one, not a big tour, not the Grammys, not anybody. The NFL lured her out. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
Knowing how many that big that audience is.
Yeah,
man, that's power right there.
Beyond that, Mike Kafka, former Eagle, will interview with the Texans for the second time. He is the offensive coordinator with the Giants. He was one of Dable's hires when he took over with the Giants. Did obviously a really good job there with a real lack of talent. So we'll see what ends up happening there. Kellen Moore will have an interview with the Panthers now that they're out of it. Shane Steichen of the Eagles will interview with the Panthers as well on January 30th is when that is going to take place. So,
so he interviewed with the Texans and who else?
Panthers, Texans, Colts.
That's right, Colts.
Yeah. And Gannon was
Texans,
Colts too.
Colts wasn't he? Didn't he go to Denver too?
Denver, maybe. Yeah. So there, yeah, that's interesting. I mean, that Steichen's that well thought of. Think about that. You have that interview set up for the 30th. You go out and win this game and put up some points against this Niners team, and everybody's talking about how nasty this defense is. It's going to set you up pretty well for that next interview.
Very well.
You would think, right?
Did you see what I just did? Did you see what I just did?
Now
you guys are going around talking about all this stuff about their defense and how their defensive coordinator is supposed to be a head coach somewhere. I just did that. Give me the money. Give me the money. You know what I'm saying? If I don't see no check out here, I ain't doing it.
What happened? What just happened? I don't know.
I'm just saying, like, that's where I'm walking in. I'm walking in. If I'm going to Super
Bowl,
Bowl,
if you're him, I thought you were talking. I thought you were speaking as you, not as Shane Steichen.
I'm Shane Steichen. I'm going in like this. Did you see what I just did?
No, absolutely.
D'Amico Ryan's defense. Did you see what I just did?
Yes.
I carved them up.
Yep.
Won it. Now I'm out, and I'm gone.
Yeah.
Just put a check. Just put a check right there and leave it blank.
It's definitely one of the advantages of still, being in it, right?
Yeah.
That's for sure. All right, so Tom Brady is still undecided. Yawn. But he's still undecided where he's going to go. Just call me when it's over, when he makes up his mind or whatever. And same thing goes for this one. It's going to take 2 first-rounders, according to Peter King, to get Aaron Rodgers out of Green Bay. Now, he said the one team that he said there could be other teams, but the team he knows is willing to pay it is the Jets, which actually is kind of interesting.
Trade the man. Trade him.
Well, they got them 2 first rounds because how they finessed Seattle.
Yeah. Trade the man. Trade him. You got to find out what this Jordan Love can do. Jordan Love got some talent. You can't sit him on the bench forever. You set Aaron Rodgers on the bench for 3 years. Oh, by the way, he's first ballot Hall of Famer when his time comes. I'm not saying Jordan Love's going to be a Hall of Famer, but you have to justify making that pick. When that draft went down, you had the wealthiest wide receiver class in the history of pro football.
Yeah.
And you took a quarterback. You took a quarterback when you still had a Hall of Fame gunslinger, considered one of the strongest arms, most accurate arms in the game. You took a quarterback to sit on the bench. You wasted that first-round pick, and for a 3-year plan. You gave up 3 years of a wide receiver or an edge rusher that you could have had in the fold for a backup quarterback that has done nothing, hasn't been given the opportunity to do anything. You got to find him. You got to find out what he can do. What are you going to do? Let this dude walk? You going to trade him? I mean, he's coming up on the last year of his rookie deal. Yeah. What'd you draft him for? You got to. You know what? You give me 2 first-round picks for 39-year-old Aaron Rodgers. I can get a receiver. I can get edge. I get a whole lot of stuff with 2 first-round picks.
Right.
You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
Aaron, thank you, but we're tired of your acts. We're tired of you him and the horn.
If I'm Green Bay, I'm looking at this and I'm saying we haven't been able to win one. Not that it was his fault necessarily, but we haven't been able to win one with him in a decade.
Yep.
2010, right? 13 years.
All right, 13 years. Someone's going to give me 2 first-rounders for a guy that age making that much?
Trade the man.
I'm going to take my chances. I think it's time. I think it's time to make a move.
But, can you imagine if he goes up there, though?
It's a good move. I think it's an interesting move by the Jets. I do.
Very interesting move.
You put Aaron Rodgers under center with the kid from Ohio State. Garrett Wilson and those receivers.
And Breece Hall comes back healthy, the running back who had such a good year until he got banged up.
Decent offensive line, decent defense. All you need is that igniter to get you over the hump.
Yep.
I'd make that move in a hurry.
Yeah, I would really consider that. And I don't know, man. That feels, even for a guy as accomplished as he is, that feels like a lot for a borderline 40-year-old. 2 ones.
Yeah, man. Yeah.
Well, a real question I've had, I've been thinking about the past couple days is what's going on in Detroit? Do they sign their guy back?
Yeah.
Well, I think they want Goff back.
I mean, he burned his way back, but
yeah,
you're talking about paying him one of those $40 million deals. Right.
I know. Do you get any kind of discount?
No.
I tell you what, the offensive coordinator has already said, I'm coming back. We got something special here.
Yeah, he did.
It tells me I'm bringing the quarterback back because the offensive coordinator and the quarterback worked wonders with that team.
He's got him by the cojones right now, doesn't he?
Yeah. I'm bringing
I guarantee you that OC got a big bump. Johnson got a big
he did.
Salary.
Man, you got 3 nice receivers, 2 deep at running back. Your backup running back led the league in rushing touchdowns at 15 in the regular season. I'm bringing Goff back. Who's to say the next quarterback will fit the system the same way?
No, they're really set up nicely. I mean, they got a lot of talent.
Only took them 30 years to get it right.
Yeah. I mean, for them, it's going to be getting stops. It's their defense.
Exactly.
Yeah, that's what they got better as the season went on, but they're not good enough.
Give me the money.
Yeah. Yeah. So if they can get some stops, man.
Period. Yeah.
Look out. It's going to be interesting when
Bears boy T Fortuna.
Uh-oh.
I'm only looking for a first rounder for Barrett. First round what? First round vote?
Cap Tony.
Rod Real.
Yeah. That means that means we're bumping you out, D-Gun. We're gonna let you come in, man. We're gonna give you a nice little 1-year deal. You know what I'm saying? Fully guaranteed, but you keep messing up, bro. We can't afford to have you on the boat, man. We can't afford that. You got
what?
you got to make sure, man, you come in, man, this is a deal. We are bona fide pros. We don't play around, bro. You might come on the boat trying to play around, want to eat bananas or something on the boat. You can't eat bananas on the boat, man. You know what I'm saying? You come in with a
Why
boat,
is a banana
whatever.
a no-no?
That's a no-no.
It's always been a no-no for fishing, man. You don't eat bananas when you're out on the water.
He bring a banana on the boat, man.
Okay.
I'm gonna bring one just for the heck of it.
You'll be sitting right there at the deck like.
No, you won't know until we about 10 miles out from shore. What you gonna do? Turn around, take me back in, and then go back out again with the cost of gas right now?
With the quickness.
With the cost of gas right now?
With the cost of diesel is like $7. I don't care. You got to go back. We gonna turn right back around, take you right back, put you back on the shore. We ain't gonna slow down. We're just gonna push you out the boat at the dock. You know what I'm saying?
You know what I'm gonna do? As soon as I see the boat turn around, I'm gonna scarf the banana and take the peel and hide it in a strategic spot on the boat nobody will know about. So you're still gonna have bad luck when you kick me off the boat. I'll tell you that right now.
Oh my God!
Don't mess with D-Gun, man. I got all kind of things swimming up here in his head, man.
I like it. I like it. All right, let's get a stoppage here. We'll come back. We'll roll into our final segment. We got birthdays. We got an on this date. We got a little Phillies mixed bit back to the Eagles. We got a lot of stuff in store for you in the final segment. Don't go anywhere. Derek Gunn, Barrett Brooks, Rob Ellis, Sports Take, JAKIB Sports YouTube Network.
My name is Fran Salerno, and I'm a managing director here at Del Valle Insurance Group. Been in the business for over 36 years, saving people money on their insurance needs. Give us a call. Let us help you custom design an insurance plan that meets both your needs and budget.
Since 1977, it's always been about you, the community, at Rafferty Subaru. And through the Subaru Love Promise, we prove we care by supporting charities like So Good Now.
So Good Now helps kids in under-resourced areas by connecting them with student athletes to serve as mentors. We remove barriers so athletes can help youth in the corners of our communities where light and love are needed most.
When you choose Rafferty Subaru, you help organizations like So Good Now.
It's all about you at Rafferty Subaru.
Go for the beers, go for the cheers, go for the hit and the hits. Go for the scene. Go for the screens. Go for the gallery. Go for the win. Go to Ocean.
We all know that taxes are just part of life. It's true during our working years, but also in retirement. But what you might not know is up to 85% of your Social Security benefits might be taxed. Our team at Thrive Financial has helped retire thousands of people across the Delaware Valley by asking questions they never knew they needed to ask, including how their Social Security benefits might be taxed. It's time to be proactive on taxes. Get your Thrive Retirement Tax Playbook today.
Post-game show with Seth Joyner.
I knew that they had a running game.
Derek Gunn.
He has put in the effort.
Devin Caney.
Had we not won the Super Bowl, what would we be saying?
And Mike Missinelli.
Well, you know who Philly is.
Post-game, now streaming on the 6ABC family of apps.
Back with our final segment of the program. Thanks for hanging out with us. Smash that like button if you will. We are Sports Take, JAKIB Sports YouTube Network. Derek, Barrett, and Rob hanging out with you. All right, on this date. This is a good one. This is a good omen on this date. On this date, January 24th, 2005. See if you gents can guess. What happened? 05 on this date.
Say that again.
2005 on this date.
Oh, Eagles beat Atlanta in the NFC Championship game.
Correct. Good call, D-Gun.
You know why? You know why I know that day?
Why?
Because the day before was a major snowstorm, and the day before that, I had just bought my first ever snowblower, preparing for what's to come. When we got word from NBC that they wanted all of us to stay in a hotel downtown. Rob, were you a part of that?
I was.
Stay in a hotel downtown just so we could get there for the game. So my oldest daughter, who was like about 18 then, I had to give her a crash course on how to work a snowblower with a 24-inch width on it, right? I just bought this thing from Home Depot. I gave her a crash course. I said, I'll call you in the morning to remind you. Well, once I got to the hotel with all the guys and we were going over all the stuff we wanted to do, game days, I completely forgot. And I told her, I said, look, because growing up in Wisconsin, when you get major snowstorms, what you do is you shovel it in waves. You know, if you're going to get 24 inches, you wait till that first foot, you get out there, knock it down, so you're not shoveling 24 inches, right?
Yeah.
So you do it twice. And so I forgot to call her the first time, and I said, oh, Anna, have you? I forgot to tell you. She goes, Dad, I already did it. I said, what? I said, she's the kind of kid you show her something one time, she's got it.
Right.
You know, well, now that she's mother of 2 kids, she ain't got the same memory she used to. But I showed it to her one time. She went out there and did it, and I was so proud of her. I was like, whoa. And then she did it again later that evening. And so, so that's why I remember that date.
There you go. Yeah, it was really cold. We did get a lot of snow. And the Eagles just took the Falcons apart in that game. You know, it was a lot of big plays. Dawkins had a nasty hit. Was it on Crumpler? Hollis Thomas hit Vic really hard on one play. Chad Lewis had a big game for the Eagles. You know, B West was doing his thing. It was a really quality win. It was clear who the better team was. That's for sure.
Snowballs flying everywhere.
Yeah.
Let's call him Nod.
Wasn't that the game Chad got hurt? Did he get hurt?
Yeah, he broke his foot he caught a touchdown pass. I think it was the second one.
Yeah,
in the back of the end zone, which really iced the game.
Yeah,
and he broke his foot on that play.
Yeah, and he missed the Super Bowl because of that. That was just a great experience, man. They got like 27 inches of snow that time, and people still packed that stadium. You were not going to keep Eagles fans out of that stadium, no matter what.
They didn't versus Detroit game either.
No. But that was a little different, Barrett, because all the weather reports said the major part of that snowstorm was coming later that day. And all of a sudden, I'm standing on the field going live. It's coming down at like 11 a.m., man. I remember I had on the NBC blue, that bright blue winter jacket they gave us.
Yeah.
And I have the picture. You see snow. I look like I got dandruff all over my shoulders, man. My shoulders covered with snow.
I wasn't really banging with y'all back then.
You didn't like us back then.
No.
We still playing in 05?
Yeah.
You were still playing. Yeah.
When year was the snowstorm? I mean, the one Shady went off for 200 yards rushing.
That's it. It was 05. It was 04, 05, around there.
No, way later than that.
That was later.
Shady was Chip Kelly, I think. Or was still Andy?
What the heck year was that?
I want to say it was like 13 or 14. All right, I'll find it.
That late?
Yeah, no, maybe it wasn't that late. Maybe it was. No, because Nick Foles was the quarterback, right? It might have been. It was either Andy's towards the end of Andy or the beginning of.
It was. I think it was Andy. It was Andy because everybody liked the quarterback then. We ran the ball.
13. It was 13.
It was 2013?
Yeah, it was 13.
Oh, then it was
December 8th. December 8th of 13.
Wow.
Chip was 13, 14, and 15, right? So it was Chip's first year. Yeah, Shady had 217 rushing yards. He had run TD runs of 57 and 40. They were down 2 touchdowns in the game. And won. Yeah. And they ended up winning 34-20 was the final.
Wow.
Yeah. That was it. Foles hit Riley Cooper with a 2-point conversion. Foles snuck one in. Also, Chris Polk had a touchdown in that game. Remember Chris Polk?
Chris Polk. I do remember.
He had a 38-yard touchdown run. They scored 28 in the fourth.
Damn.
Did they really?
Yeah, that moved them to 8-5 on the season.
Oh my goodness.
Yeah, that's crazy. I didn't remember that many. Yeah, it moved them to 8-5. The Lions are 7-6. They were pretty evenly matched going into the game. Reggie Bush was still playing. He was the Lions running back. He fell on a slippery part of the field during the warm-ups and re-injured himself.
What?
Yeah.
I remember that. I do remember that.
Stafford fumbled 3 snaps in the first quarter.
Wow.
Dang.
Joik Bell had 2 fumbles inside the red zone in the first half. Shady had 148 yards in the fourth quarter alone.
Jeez. Oh
Wow.
my goodness.
It's funny the stuff you forget, right? I mean, they finished with 299 rushing yards against a defense that didn't allow a TD on the ground in the previous 8 games. Detroit was pretty good. Schwartz was their coach. Schwartz was Detroit's coach.
Shady's ability to cut, the way he cut in that snow.
Yeah.
I mean, it's like
his stop and starts were crazy.
They were
oh
insane.
my goodness.
They were insane. Yeah. So Foles threw his first interception. He was 1 short of Peyton Manning's record for the most touchdowns without a pick to start a season. He had gone 19 touchdowns without a pick, and then he threw one in the game.
Jeez.
Yeah, man.
Man, the good old days.
I know, right? That was 10 years ago. Coming up this season. It'll be 10 years.
10 years ago?
Yeah.
Where were you 10 years ago, Brooks?
I was working at NFL Films and ESPN. I was producing there. Yeah.
In 2013. Wow.
Yeah, but I didn't come to you guys' shop until 15.
Yeah, 15. Yep. Yeah. Yep. I was WIP full time and working at CBS 3. That's where I was doing both of those 2 things. I was doing the post game. I was late for the post game. It took me 3 hours to get from my house to 4th and Market, which generally takes me 25 minutes.
Wow.
And what time did you leave?
I left with 10 minutes left in the first quarter, and I missed the beginning of the post game show. I got there late.
As heavy as it was snowing, and you waited that long?
It was terrible. It was terrible. Well, it wasn't actually. Yeah, usually I leave with 5 minutes left in the second quarter. I mean, I figured I gave myself enough time. Clearly, I didn't give myself enough time.
Wow.
Yeah, it was pretty wild.
I know you were pulling your teeth.
I was a mess. I needed to be fitted for a straitjacket. I mean, I told you guys this before. So I got pulled over by a state trooper on 95. And the guy's like, "What are you doing on the road? What are you doing?" And I pulled the card that I never ever pull. I said, "Do you listen to WIP?" He's like, "Yeah." I said, I'm Rob Ellis. And he's like, "All right, what are you doing?" I'm like, I got to do the post game show. And he gave me a police escort down 95 from like the airport to like the Callow Hill exit.
Look at you.
Which got me close, but I was still late. But he's like, "Dude, drive right home and stay off the roads and tell your friends because this is a chaos out here." It was like something out of a circus. You had cars that were just like doing spins.
Right.
No roads were plowed. No salt was dropped because we didn't expect it to happen. I'm telling you.
So how late were you?
About 10 minutes. Not crazy late, but it's not good because here's the problem. Like, I think I was doing it with Dan Klecko, and Dan's great, but Dan's not. The post game's a different animal. There's a lot of sponsorships. There's a lot of stuff you got to do, and he's just kind of like, "Yeah, we're on. Eagles won." You know, he was winging.
So he was by himself until you got there?
Yeah.
Oh, jeez.
Yeah.
Oh my goodness.
Bro, I can only imagine you because I mean
it wasn't healthy.
An hour ahead of time, you got the notes put out.
I'm like, yeah.
How about before after we beat my rookie year, after we beat the Detroit Lions?
Oh, that game was unbelievable.
That storm came like a day or so later, and we packed up right after the game. He said, "Hey, everybody, go home, pack your stuff, be ready to leave early Monday morning because there's a snowstorm that's coming. Supposed to come like a Tuesday or Wednesday."
Right.
So we packed up everything and we flew down to Florida, and we're practicing. I think it was in Tampa. We're practicing on this field, had potholes, and it was like the worst field. It's like a high school field.
Oh my God.
At that time, we get down there. Randall hears that he's having a baby. He jumps on a flight from Florida, goes to Vegas.
Yeah.
He gets to Vegas, has the baby on, I think, Thursday. Either Wednesday or Thursday. But he doesn't come back. He stays with the baby until game day. He flies in on game day. Doesn't know the offensive game plan.
Oh.
And Rodney Peete gets knocked out the game.
Oh.
Needless to say, we got our ass whooped.
That week, the ensuing week, Barrett, was chaos in Philadelphia, man. Like, talk show. How dare Randall, hey,
right.
Don't fly out and see the baby. You got to know your playbook, and it was crazy.
Oh, man. And we ended up staying there for 2 extra days.
Right.
Because we couldn't fly back because it was still a mess in Philly.
Oh.
So in the midst of us staying down there, I go out with Leon Lett and what's his name? The tackle.
Eric Williams.
No, not Eric.
Larry Allen.
I go out with Larry Allen. I go out with them dudes. They were cool. So I'm chilling with them, man. We're kicking and everything. That's when I finally, got to really know Allen. I got to really know Allen.
Yeah.
And how strong he really was, So it was crazy, man. Like his bench, his bench bar is permanently bent from all the weight that he has on it. It's permanently bent.
Oh my God.
Like it won't go back up. It won't go straight. It's just permanent bent like that. That's how strong he is, bro.
Goodness.
I believe it. I believe it. Yeah. So that was on this date, way back when. All right. Let's do some birthdays, and then we'll get it back to the Birds. Sean McVay, still the coach of the Rams. He's 37 years old today. Is Sean McVay, so he is still in place with the Rams. John Belushi would have been 74 today. He was born in 1949. John Belushi, Animal House, Blues Brothers, all that. Sharon Tate, the actress who was killed by the Manson clan, was born on this day in 1943.
Wow.
Yeah. Yep. She would have been 80. She was killed in 69. So she was 26 years old when she died. Neil Diamond, the singer, is 82 today. Yep. Sweet Caroline fame. Deree Diggs, the actor and singer, is 41 years old today. Matthew Lillard, who has been in a lot of stuff, including Scream, is 53 today. Tatiana Ali, who was in Fresh Prince, she was the little sister. She is 44 today. Man, she's 44, the little sister. You want to feel old. Ed Helms from The Hangover and The Office is 49 today.
He is hilarious.
Hey, I love Ed Helms. He is funny, man.
He doesn't get enough. He doesn't get enough notoriety for being a comic actor. That dude is hilarious.
He is,
bro. When he when he goes to Bangkok, man.
Oh my goodness! Oh my goodness!
He gets the Tyson tattoo on his face.
That dude is there.
The first one, he's missing a tooth, and then the second one, he gets the Tyson, tribal thing on his head.
No, when he goes to the strip club.
Oh yeah. Oh gosh. Yeah, yes. Oh my God.
You're a mess, man.
Yeah. Yep. There's a lot of scenes in those Hangover movies. Oh my God. Misha Barton is 37, the actress. Ernest Borgnine, the actor, was born this day, 1917.
McHale's Army.
Yeah. Who else? Mary Lou Retton, the gymnast from the 84 Olympics, is 55 today. Aaron Neville, the great singer, is 82 years old today. Warren Zevon was born on this day, 1947, passed away. Kyle Brandt, who I think is excellent on Good Morning Football.
I agree.
He's 44 today, is Kyle Brandt.
Yep.
Kyle Brandt's a great mix of you really think he's having fun. Like, I believe he's having fun. Like, he comes off like he's really enjoying it. It doesn't come off like a job to him.
And it doesn't come off like like he's been there before. Like he's not a guy that act like he's a football player, but he knows football. He really knows football.
I agree. Yeah,
I think that's a great mix.
He is a great mix. That's a good point.
He is phenomenal at pop culture stuff too.
Yes.
It's phenomenal at that stuff.
Yeah. His career is fast. He was an actor. He was on The Real World MTV. He was Jim Rome's producer. Like, he's had a crazy background, that guy. And I think it's one of the reasons why he's so versatile and he's able to do a lot of things. That's all I got. Birthdays. You guys got anything?
You got William Allen Young, Mauritius dad.
Okay.
He turned 69.
69. Yep.
Let me see. Machio Kaku. He's 76. He's that scientist that Big Boom theory.
Oh yeah.
He turned 76 today.
Okay.
Brian Cushing turned 36.
Former linebacker.
Yep. Tristan Wirth turns 24.
Offensive line.
Yep. Henry Ruggs, Alabama guy's in jail right now. Turns 24 today.
Yep.
Sleepy Brown, he's from Outkast, Goody Mob. He, helped TLC.
Okay.
He's a rapper, singer, extraordinary as far as, being in the music world down in Atlanta. So he's with Goody Mob and all those guys.
Okay.
Sleepy Brown. So that's all I have.
All right. Gunner, you got any?
Kenya Moore, one of the Real Housewives. Justin Baldoni, he's 39.
All right.
And Christian Shaw from a movie My Spy, she's 45.
Okay. All right.
Yep.
Movies. Chicago, the movie Chicago. Came out this day.
Yep.
Yeah, 03. Dear John came out in 2010. There wasn't a whole lot else. You guys have any that are
Critters 3 from 1992. I watched the first one.
Enjoyed that.
After the first one, I said, that was it. I'm done. Yeah. And then 2020, The Courier.
Yeah. I didn't see that one. Okay.
I did not see that one, but it was supposed to be a popular movie. Those are the only three movies were terrible this week for this day.
It's been a bad movie stretch.
Yeah. Yeah.
Ironically, with the Oscar nominations came out today. So
did I get nominated again?
You're an Emmy. You're an Emmy Award winner. More than anything else. More than an Oscar. You know what I mean? You're more of an Emmy guy.
Okay. All right.
That's for sure.
I have limited character role. Okay. All right.
Ain't nothing wrong with that. You got a couple Emmys, I'm sure, don't you, D?
I got one. Yeah.
There you go.
I got one Emmy, and I have one 2012 Pennsylvania Sportscaster of the Year.
Dang.
Yeah. Not bad. Okay.
Yeah.
I got me and Rob got one.
We did win one. We did.
We got one for Breakfast on Broad, and then I got two for ESPN.
I got some around here.
Did you?
Yeah, I got two at ESPN. Yeah. There we go.
Oh, look at him! Oh, look at him! Oh, look at him showing off.
Hey!
Oh, look at
I keep mine in the box. I don't even open the box. It's still in the box.
I got two. I got one for Breakfast on Broad and one for producing. So I got one.
Well, I got two for producing from ESPN, but they sent plaques instead of sending the.
Oh, you don't actually get the
Emmy itself. No, they sent plaques.
Oh, okay. Okay.
So I got one. I got one world holding girl. And I have two plaques
holding the ball up. Yeah.
You know where mine are?
Where?
I don't know.
You don't even know. I think you need to make like a neck, like a chain. Have your Emmy around, walking around like Flava Flav.
My wife put my Sportscaster of the Year award in a glass casing in our foyer off the main door.
That's nice.
I forgot with a bunch of other trinkets she has in there. If it wasn't sitting there, I couldn't even tell you. Any awards I have, they're in a box somewhere in the basement. I have no idea. I don't put them up. I don't display them. Some people like this. I don't. I don't know.
I have them down here on my desk. I don't know, man. I would be strange, like just having them right there in the living room.
Right.
Me too.
The running joke with actors is they put them in the bathroom to remind how quickly your career can go that way. I think it's pretty funny, actually. Yeah, you know what I mean? Keeps you humble. It keeps you humble a little bit. Yeah,
absolutely.
That's for sure. All right, so Eagle-wise, as we get closer here to this thing, and again, it's the Eagles are 3:00, and then the AFC is the 6:30 game. So I'm happy about that. I think we're all happy about that the Eagles play at 3:00.
Should have been 1:00.
Well, I mean, look,
I'm just kidding.
It's the lesser of two evils, Gunner. Okay?
It is.
I will certainly take it. That's for sure. But I mean, the big question this week is, well, I think there's a couple. One, what's the status of Avonte Maddox, and will he be practicing? And if he can practice, does that mean they'll try and play him in this game, or is this just, hey, let's get him a couple weeks under his belt? If the Eagles win, they'll get another week off with the bye, and then they play the Super Bowl. So what is Avonte Maddox's status? And then I would be curious, the follow-up to, hey, Lane and hey, Jalen, how sore are you guys? Coming off of Saturday's game. Just kind of find out where that is too.
That's a valid point. I don't think after what we saw Jalen do, I don't think soreness is going to be a factor in this game. Once that adrenaline starts pumping, or Lane for that matter, when that adrenaline starts pumping, all of a sudden those little aches and pains, that's the best medicine you can have, man. When you step out on that field and 60-something thousand people are screaming, and the interesting thing about this game coming up is I saw this stat yesterday. 18, it might be up by now. 18% of tickets sold for this game Sunday are being bought by 49er fans. Now, we always talk about how well the Eagles contingent travels across the country as well. 18% is a good.
That's pretty high
for the visiting. Yeah, for visiting fans.
Interesting. Oh,
that's very interesting.
Yeah, we'll see. I noticed something early in the San Francisco game. Like when Dallas made some plays early, it sounded like it was a Dallas game. There were a lot of Cowboys fans in San Francisco. Now they quieted down, obviously, with the way it went as the game went on, but you could hear them early. That's for sure.
Yeah.
All right. Yep. That's going to do it for us. We are out of time. Want to thank Xander Kraus, our producer, doing a great job as always. All of you in the chat section, we thank you, and everybody streaming, everybody listening. You guys are the best. Again, tell a friend. Let's spread the word, man. We're doing it better than anybody else. 3 hours a day, 12 to 3 every single day. 3 hours of power with this crew. All right, don't go anywhere. You got the National Football Show.
Spending 3 hours with you guys just isn't enough for one day.
Bye, y'all.
Wow. just keep kicking me in the teeth. Wow.
I always tell you, Derek, you have the option to keep going. Like, you can keep going. It's no problem. We're just going to turn the mic off, but you can just keep, you keep going.
I try to show you love, and this is what I get. Wow.
All right, stay tuned for Dan Cilio. He's coming up. Don't go anywhere. We're back with you guys same time tomorrow. You guys are the best. That is Derek. That is Barrett. I'm Rob. We are Sports Take. We'll see you tomorrow same time.
My name is Fran Salerno, and I'm a managing director here at Del Valle Insurance Group. Been in the business for over 36 years, saving people money on their insurance needs. Give us a call. Let us help you custom design an insurance plan that meets both your needs and budget.
Since 1977, it's always been about you, the community, at Rafferty Subaru. And through the Subaru Love Promise, we prove we care by supporting charities like So Good Now.
So Good Now helps kids in under-resourced areas by connecting them with student-athletes to serve as mentors. We remove barriers so athletes can help youth in the corners of our communities where light and love are needed most.
When you choose Rafferty Subaru, you help organizations like So Good Now.
It's all about you at Rafferty Subaru.
Go for the beers. Go for the cheers. Go for the hit and the hits. Go for the scene. Go for the screens. Go for the gallery. Go for the win. Go to Ocean.
We all know that taxes are just part of life. It's true during our working years, but also in retirement. But what you might not know is up to 85% of your Social Security benefits might be taxed. Our team at Thrive Financial has helped retire thousands of people across the Delaware Valley by asking questions they never knew they needed to ask, including how their Social Security benefits might be taxed. It's time to be proactive on taxes. Get your Thrive Retirement Tax Playbook today.
Post-game show with Seth